Yeah, they said the creek was quiet until I showed up with the flash. Now it bubbles like a cauldron full of chaos and sass. Flip the switch, boom, spores light the night. I'm that mad mycologist, cooking dynamite. Roll up in the lab coat, looking like a villain. Petri dish, pimping every strain I'm killing. Got that mycelium feeling spreading in the ceiling. Dr. Solarian sermon got the culture kneeling. Moon pearl shimmer while the flask gets hot. MCM, baby, we the cream of the crop. I mix oats and sawdust, make that block ignite. Fungi fireworks, call it Friday night. I'm a spore bomb lighting up the scene. Grow bags popping like a fever dream. Got jars on the table, culture's clean. Dr. Silurian cooking up that green. Mossy Creek, that's dynamite. Spreading spores till the stars take flight. Call the lab, tell them brace for blight. Cause I'm blowing up the world with my mycelial might.
Boop, boop, doop, doop, boop, boop, boo. What's up, guys? Give me a drink of water. Hope you all are having a great day. I know we're doing this on an off day. It is not Thursday, so you don't have to check your calendars. It's a Tuesday. We'll also have our Thursday live stream as well. I'll schedule that one as soon as this one is done. But we are doing it early since I missed last week, and I owe you all a live stream. So any questions? Comments, concerns, advice. I don't know what other words to use for words. She's ignoring me. You're fine. No, I'm just messing around. I'm just trying to take up your attention. I hope everybody's having a great day. We are having a miserably hot day today. It's kind of gross outside. Every time I go outside, it's like hitting a wall of water, like hot, steamy shower water. Like you just walked into a room where somebody has taken the hottest, longest shower of your life, but it's outside and nobody has showered and everyone's not clean because it's gross. Honestly, a bit dramatic. Well, it sucks. I've been out there working in it, and it's gross. Did you get the truck unloaded, by the way? You don't have to. No, we can do it in the evening when it's cool. I just was wondering. But before I forget, everybody, we need to unload to dump out that the G-Wagon, and then fill that with a bag of grain and wet it for the all-in-one bag order. Okay. Well, I hope y'all ain't nobody said hi yet. Wow. Y'all just leaving me on just observing me, watching me, lurking on me. I am going to be drinking a lot of water because I've been outside working. I haven't been working that much, but what little bit I've been out there, I've lost a bunch. Excuse me. So if you see me reaching for the water a lot, that's what's going on. All right, guys. So we went on vacation last week, which is why we were gone for the live stream. And we went up to the mountains, and I found me a nice chicken of the woods mushroom and tried to clone it. And I will take a look at it here in a little bit on camera. But I think when I walked by it earlier, I saw some fuzz, which is awesome because we found it was a really nice chicken of the woods. It was a nice white pour Cincinnati chicken. And I am currently going through my entire chicken of the woods and hen of the woods library and am trying to get all that stuff bottled up and woke back up and tried to get some of that growing in the grow room because it's been a minute since I've tried to grow a chicken of the woods indoors. We're installing a almond agaricus bed in the outdoor tubs, in the spent mushroom tubs that we use, where we also grow our plants. Two Angels Mushroom Farm, which is no longer a mushroom farm, I don't think. It's Two Angels Fig Farm, I think now. Is that right? Yeah. They're out of Chattanooga. They used to buy ready-to-fruit blocks from me back in the day. And then they just, I guess, found out that they just made a lot more money doing figs. So they do that and some produce, but I think they still do almond agaricus. And they used to do that under all their plants. So Plum says, when I sweat a lot, I eat pickles or drink pickle juice. I could totally go for some cold pickle juice. That would not be a bad thing. So there's like 7 jars of pickle juice. Well, that's for my That's for my hard-boiled eggs that I'm gonna make one day that I just never make. Why am I so low in the camera frame? I feel like maybe my chair is lower than normal. Well, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it. As far as the pickle juice goes, that's an interesting idea. I wonder if there's just like electrolytes in the pickle juice. I do know that I already enjoy eating ever since I was a kid. So when I was a kid, I used to sneak. I lived in a 3-generation home growing up for the first half of growing up or whatever. It wasn't until about middle school or high school that we moved out. But we had my my brother and I's room, my grandparents' room, my parents' room, and then the kitchen. And I used to wake up in the middle of the night and sneak past everybody's rooms as quiet as I could. Go get that little, I forgot what they call it. I call it a decanter. I know it's not a decanter. There's something else that it's called. Pop the top off, and I used to just pour all the vinegar in my mouth. And I don't know. I've always liked vinegar, and pickled juice is basically just a vinegar brine. So I like it as well. Hey, Moss Creek Mushrooms is live. Did you know that? I was just informed. It's the salt water in the brine. I mean, it makes sense. Fermented dill is really good for you. Well, most pickles have dill, yeah. That's pretty cool. He said it's just salt and cucumber nutrients. You can literally take some real salt, sea salt, etc., and mix it in water. Okay. I mean, yeah, I probably should. I actually went to the ER one time having chest pains. It wasn't even chest pains. It was like cramps. It felt like my heart was cramping or like would just skip a beat. And I was just like, what is going on? And so this was whenever I was losing a lot of weight. I had started doing the steam sauna regularly and everything else. And then it had turned summertime. And I went to the doctor, and after a while she was like, honey, because I told her, I was like, I've been losing weight. My cholesterol's been looking good. My blood pressure's been good. And she went, well, tell me about your diet or whatever. And I was like, well, I eat low sodium to eat healthy. She's like, okay, so you eat low sodium. And I said, yeah, I have since I was a kid, because my grandfather was low sodium and I grew up with him. And then I just never did develop the taste. Like, I don't really like salt. Like, fries can be too salty for me sometimes. And she was just like, through all this different things. And I was like, oh, okay. She just went, honey, you need to have some salt. And I was like, but I heard low sodium was good for you. And she's like, it's you're sweating in the steam sauna. You're sweating when you're working out. You're sweating outside, and you're being more active. You need some salt. And she's like, literally, that feeling in your chest is like your heart trying to protect itself from being robbed of too much electrolytes. So, but yeah, I mean, that was it. Yeah, Jake is right. Where's the likes at, everybody? Samantha, will you sign in on YouTube and go give me a like so somebody will like me? Please. She said, hey, Dish. What's going on, buddy? Warm salt water isn't... Oh, not to my mic, I think. Isn't very desirable when it's hot outside, but your body thoroughly enjoys it when you sweat. Nothing like an ice cold glass or bottle of water, though. So, I just found, like, I used to hear people talk about a cold beer after mowing on a hot day. And I've been out here working in the plant nursery, and I literally, just for the first time, like, was like, I want a beer. I haven't had one in, like, months. So I tried one, and it was incredible. I was like, this is what cold beer after a hot day of work is like. This is amazing. So, Patina, what's today's topics? Are you freeballing? I mean, I'm freeballing right now. I don't have a lot. It's a Q&A. So Thursday we'll have our Freedom Bash. I don't really have a lot for that either. Just a couple of short Q&As this week. But, I mean, we got a Chicken of the Woods that I'm going to check out. And, of course, anybody's questions. I'm like, that's the reason I'm here, is to help new growers or even old growers refine their game. So anybody who's got any sort of questions or problems that they're working with, I'm happy to go over it. That's the real topic today. Otherwise, I'm just socializing until we have what people want to go over. as Samantha just said, this is a scheduled block time that we normally do to offer, like, people who can't afford a consult can come here and talk with me about anything that they need. So I'm literally here for questions for people to help people who maybe need a consult but can't afford one. Or just this is my way of giving free access, because it used to be people wanted to call me and talk on the phone. This is my way of going, I can talk to 50 people at once and answer 50 people's questions versus, and I can block my other time for other things. Yeah. Like fulfilling orders, which people want me to do. How are you fruiting chicken of the woods? Okay, so I have typically it'll grow in the sawdust block, right? And so you have your normal block, like what you see here. And in fact, okay, so you have your normal block like you have here, which this is just the real light, wispy. In fact, you can see this is Hericium that's wanting to start pinning already. So this spawn bag's a little past due. But, okay, so you take this, it turns orange and fluffy. The chicken of the woods has a very neurospora look to it. The mycelium will actually go aerial. Like if you're working on a plate in the lab, the HEPA filter can pick up little fragments. I can end up with little chicken of the woods fragments of mycelium in my beard after I've done lab work with it. So it also loves liquid culture, but it always floats to the top. You can never really get it homogenized. But the way to fruit this is usually I like to take this and then I cut a little slit in the top of the bag typically so I can pull the air out. And then as I go, I try to get the filter patch to where it's on this section right here. So I try to wrap all of this around, but in such a way that this doesn't block the filter patch. I actually want the filter patch to touch the bag. And then I wrap that over, and then I place it to where the filter patch is out where it can fruit. And what I find is the chicken of the woods mycelium will start to grow through the filter patch, and then it fruits and grows through the filter patch, the little conchs that it produces. It is usually not a lot. I am working on a block premix powder that was I'm hoping will help encourage fruiting. There's some stuff to reduce oxidative stresses, to increase lignase productions. Mainly, though, there's just a couple of different things I'm trying to do to try to get it to fruit a little better. Now, when we'll see if that trial works, and if it does, I'll definitely be telling everybody. But oh my goodness, a surprise visit from my boy. But what we do is we try to fruit it through the filter patch. And I usually get on like a 5-pound block about a 1/4 pound of fruit. It's not a lot. The nice thing about chicken of the woods is that it's not very slow, but it actually ends up being pretty high value. So it's actually still, even though like even on a large block, I might get, 1/2 pound or less. It tends to actually be worth it because chicken of the woods is, especially out of season, it's one of those things that's really hard for people to get a hold of. And a lot of chefs like it, especially I find the white pour is better, but the yellow pour, the sulfarius, is actually easier to fruit so far. Now, I'm working on a 2-part process. The first is a nutritional aspect to encourage fruiting. And since I've been studying fungal nutrition, this is kind of my bag now. But the other side is I've been doing genetics for a while. Primarily selective breeding. I shouldn't say genetics. I've been a selective breeder for a long time. And I think that if we go from filial generations, that means spore to spore. Filial means from parent to child versus a clonal generation. I think that we can actually breed towards chicken of the woods that fruits better on in indoor cultivation. So I'm working on 2 different angles. But for now, getting a wild, fresh culture seems to be the best that I've come across. And usually, like I said, just getting that filter patch because you do not want the mold will grow on it really easy on the mycelium. So you really want to protect it. It also doesn't have the structure. Like this right here is Hericium, and you can see it's kind of solid, even though it's really wispy looking. It's still pretty solid. The chicken of the woods grain is not. It just falls apart. It has no structural value whatsoever. So that's actually one of the problems when we're trying to get fruit on chicken of the woods. So one of the things I do is I get that filter patch touching the surface, and then what I have found, I want to say this was Peter McCoy, that wrote. Oh my gosh, the main book that I suggest everyone reads all the time, Radical Mycology. Hello. But one of the things that you can do is run a skewer um, through, like when you see the fruit begin to form, just run a skewer through it to punch punch right through it into the substrate, and then it'll grow along that skewer, and that skewer will go deep into the sawdust and help provide structure. Because that's the big thing, is that in vitro, in indoor cultivation, I guess domestic cultivation, our substrates are not like wood, where it has a lot more structural value. And that stick or two really helps. I like to make them like full-on skewers. I've seen people use toothpicks and stuff a couple of times to try, and I feel like the skewer does a lot better job. So, sorry, I see we got. Have you done a cold ferment pasteurization before? Wanted to give it a go. Seems straightforward and suitable for. So let me just ask you, what do you mean by cold ferment pasteurization? I assume that you're not talking about cold lime pasteurization. You mean like a ferment, as in actually submerging your substrate for a while, letting it ferment, and then drying it, and then doing that again. If that's the case, I think the idea with that is that you're trying to get all the bacterial mold, endospores and mold spores to germinate, grow a little bit, have the yeast kill a bunch of that off, then dry it out a little bit, and then do it again back and forth, so that basically there are no more endospores left to do so. And I have not done a ferment of substrate before, other than, just for like the kitchen. So there are there's lime pasteurization, which is a cold one using agricultural lime. Typically, it can be quite caustic. You really need to be safe with it. And from my understanding, it works best with straw rather than anything else. It works best with straw, and then using aggressive mushroom species. Those two things really need to come together to make it worth it. And not every mushroom species has a tolerance for that kind of pH. So hopefully that works. FYI, I also got Patreon messages. Looks like they finally fixed it. That's what I'm telling you. Like, for the first time, you messaged me on Patreon, and for the first time ever, I got this weird noise on my phone, and I was like, what is this? It's Michael, Dish Power Sync. And okay. And I was like, what is up with this? And I was like, it's Patreon. No way. So I'm glad that you're getting it too. This is giving me hope. Like, I think I might actually stick with Patreon, because this is the third major update. They've got another one on July 6th coming up. And I think that I was talking to Samantha and Ben about potentially running there's some experimentation that I want to do, and it's going to require specific funding to do this experimentation. And I was thinking that how interesting would it be for us to pool some resources, provide the experimentation, work with a couple of other farms, and then release that information, that study that we do, to only the people who represented it. So with that, I think that I might actually stick with Patreon. And I might even use it more, trying to get it to actually work on some of these specific research projects that I want. So I'm also working on, like, I need to recontact. I haven't done the strain testing in a little bit, but I need to start that back up and get those guys going as well. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of cool stuff that we can be doing, and Patreon might stay a part of that now, just because of how much they fixed. Can you cultivate chicken of the woods? Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're. Do I? I bet they've had enough people leave, because I was about to leave. We were this close. I was building out the infrastructure behind the scenes for the new website, and it just, at this point, Patreon's actually doing a good job that I'm like, oh, maybe I don't have to control this. He also put in an order and just said that we can ship them both at the same time. I meant to tell you that and had not. You have to ship them separately? Oh, because of the way Patreon works, you have to ship it. And the way the website works, you have to ship them both separate. Otherwise, it won't. Oh, well, there you go. It doesn't cost Michael anything extra. It's just, so he was just saying that we could use it to save money, but if we have to ship it separate, we have to ship it separate. So, not Plum, Dish, Samantha said that we're probably going to ship your stuff Monday because it's going to be in the hundreds all week this week. We're actually, most people orders aren't shipping this week just because of how hot it is. But yeah, Plum, you can absolutely cultivate the chicken of the woods. It's not, there's not a good SOP yet. It's not a really well dialed in thing. Now, I think that there's a few different mushroom species that I think have huge potential for domestication, for being grown indoors commercially. Chicken of the woods is one of them. Pheasant's back is one of them. But I think both, there needs to be better work on the genetics, on the selective breeding. Dish said no rush. He's okay. So I think that chicken of the woods, pheasant's back. What else was there? There was a couple others I had in mind that have slipped my mind now. But I think that they need some selective breeding done to bring them into cultivation, to make them more receptive to cultivation. And then we need some of the nutritional aspects figured out. But I think chicken of the woods is one of those that could be huge money once somebody gets it figured out, and because it's already amazing. It's already so much like chicken. So, have you tried growing black boletes? I have not. I don't even know that I have access to a black bolete culture. Jacob, I would love to try it, but I have not. I have not seen a culture, and therefore I haven't gone looking for one. I'll tell you who would be the best person to find one would be Jacob Howard of the Mushroom Shop LLC. Jacob is actually the person who is probably the single best person at finding those strains from like other continents and other places. I think I just saw that he fruited some Spirassa or something like that recently. But he would probably know where to get black bolete, and if he doesn't know already or doesn't have it already, he would be the person who could source it. He has got some sort of crazy myco magic when it comes to that. What is the texture and taste like of chicken of the woods? Chicken of the woods, so I'll put it to you this way, Plum. We took chicken of the woods, and when we taught a log class, we made a chicken stir fry, and we had chicken. Was it chicken breast or thighs that we cooked, Samantha? Do you remember in that stir fry? It's probably thighs, but I don't know. It could have been breast. In fact, I want to say it was breast because I don't know that we were eating chicken thighs with that. Hey, love you, baby. Have fun. Love y'all. Have fun. Do not break your shoulder again. Love you, bud. You taking them where? The skating rink? Please be careful with them. And Collier, thank you for doing that with your little siblings. Well, you're coming to pick him up and stuff. Do they need money? Are you sure? I can give you cash. Collier, just take the cash. There's 35. Let them get some snacks and stuff to pay their tickets. I'm just paying for those two, or maybe you. Okay. Well, you said all of them. Okay. All right. I love you all. All right. You're coming, bringing them back tonight. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Well, not sorry about that. Thank you for the, whatever. Thank you for the not get, yeah, whatever. Just screw it. Thank you for letting me father my children without complaint. But I'm not sorry that I fathered my children. I don't know how to say this without sound. I don't want to sound like an a-hole, but I want to sound grateful. But I also don't want to lie. I don't know. Whatever. But anyways, so we cooked that chicken of the woods and the chicken in the stir fry, and then told people before they ate it, because I don't believe you should feed people stuff like if someone had a mushroom allergy, which why would they be in a mushroom class if that's the case? But they're like, where are the mushrooms in this? And we're like, the mushrooms are right there. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's the chicken of the woods. And they're like, they could not tell the difference between the chicken and the chicken of the woods. Now, I'm not going to say that it's always like that, but it definitely can have. Samantha said it's got more like the texture of king oysters for her. I can see that. It's firm. It's meaty. It's not at all, to me. Chicken of the woods is not as mushroomy as a lot of mushrooms. It tastes like a chicken mushroom dish instead of a. She said it's never really consistent because you're always harvesting it just whenever you find it in the woods, and so it could be too old, a little woody in the center, a little soft on the edges. And that's one of the things where I think it's actually that and pheasant speck both are a timing mushroom. You got to get to them at the right time. So I think that that's why they're ripe for domestication, for indoor growing, is because you want to be able to time it. I mean, oysters are the same way. And do people eat massive amounts of wild oysters? Not normally, but they eat massive amounts of grown oysters because you can get that time. You can get to it on time, I mean. I love that you spend so much time out of your busy schedule to give knowledge and advice to others. That says so much about your character. I appreciate those kind words, Dustin. I really do. It's always been my hope that I can help people. I've always wondered why that brings me some hate sometimes. Hey, Samantha said if you do like this, that we spend time giving out information for free, we would love for that to be reflected in our Google reviews on our Google page. So if you like what you hear here and you can't afford to purchase anything from us and you appreciate the time we get to spend with you, maybe you could consider giving back by giving us a 5-star review on our Google page. Samantha said that we got a 1-star review on there somewhere where someone said we were rude because we didn't want to spend an hour talking to him on the phone while we're trying to work. So maybe you guys can help counterbalance that. Any reviews are appreciated, especially 5-star reviews. Can anything be added to spawn or substrate bags to reduce the risk? And by the way, I just want you guys to know, I've always been the kind of person who's terrified to promote myself, and I'm trying to get over that. I'm trying to get to the point where I want to promote myself, at least maybe not overly. I don't want to be a used car salesman, but I do want to, ask for what I need. So, can anything be added to spawn or substrate bags to reduce the risk of contamination? Patina, I hope I said your name right. The truth is not a lot. When it comes to spawn and things like in substrate bags, you want nutrition in there, and nutrition is typically bioavailable, which means that it's always going to run that risk. Now, you can do things like what are called self-selective substrates, so like pure sawdust, even straw to an extent. Though straw can support mold growth due to the more open celluloses and hemocelluloses. The grains are always at danger because you've got most molds and stuff can form lipases and other things that break down that nutrition. So the best thing usually is to use a really lignous substrate like sawdust, or straw with an aggressive mushroom species like a pink oyster, milky mushroom, something like that. And there are things that people have tried. Dr. Mike used to have this trichovict powder that was an orchid hormone base that was supposed to prevent trichoderma growth. I can't tell you the efficacy. I don't think I've seen that product in a very long time. I think he switched over to a liquid culture and liquid culture premix. And maybe it was just worth his time more to make that than it was the trichovict. Or maybe the trichovict didn't work well, or maybe it just didn't sell well. I don't know, but that product doesn't really seem to exist anymore. And I don't know. I tried it one time and it didn't really do much that I could tell. But maybe it was because I got an olive green mold, so something more like a penicillin or something like that, rather than your dark green trichodermas. So I don't know. You can put lime in there, but you have to be really careful because agricultural lime will, up to a point, will buffer the acids that the mushroom produces. But too high a pH can be harmful. So it can create some osmotic stress on the mycelium. So there's just not a lot that you can do to get around. At least right now, there's not a lot we can do to get around proper sterilization and proper inoculation technique. Both of those are about the only thing I know is to develop those skills. It just takes time, and it takes, any sort of skill is familiarity over time. The more time you spend engaged with that, the more you're going to learn that technique. But only, unfortunately, with technique, the only way out is through. And you're going to get very frustrated a lot of times. A lot of people have really good luck to begin with. Then they go through a slump. Samantha went through a slump herself when she was learning lab technique, and she was like, "What's wrong with me?" And I was like, "There is nothing wrong with you. I too went through this very slump. It is not something that people just magically get. It's just very frustrating when you start doing something, it works well, and then for some reason it doesn't, and then you finally get it figured out." And Samantha's got through a breakthrough. There's always that plateau that you're going to have to push through, I think. So I wish there was like you can do antibiotic powders and things like that. Most of them do not survive any sort of autoclaving or sterilization heat. And even then, when they do, they can cause all kinds of weirdness with your mushrooms. I am not a fan of antibiotics in your substrates or your medias even. I think normally it just hides a problem until that problem becomes too much of a problem. So Plum, I'm currently learning to propagate fruit tree cuttings. I wasn't aware that you have to be careful with propagation because many fruit trees are protected. You do if you're selling them. I guess, yeah, you're supposed to even personally, but a lot of people, I mean, like, who's going to come check your yard? That kind of thing. I don't think you're really hurting somebody if you're propagating for your own yard. If you're propagating for your farm, that is something that usually needs to be, you need to lease the genetics from the proper people if you're doing a full out farm. But if you're propagating fruit tree cuttings, a lot of times what people will do nowadays, do you remember who that guy was that I was talking to you about the pears? I can't remember. I was talking to some guy and he was Joe Foy. Joe Foy is who it was. Joe and Brenda, and I forgot the name of their mushroom farm, but they're in West Virginia. Great people. OGs in the mushroom world. Joe's been around for freaking ever. And I was talking to him the other day, and they were doing cuttings and saving some old pear varieties for a lady. And so what they were doing is finding people who were interested in saving old fruit trees. Old fruit trees are not protected. They're heritage breeds, right? You can take them, you can bring them in, you can even crossbreed them once they have flowers and can be pollinated. So, I forgot about the apples at Mom and Dad's. We need to make sure we go pick a bunch of those too. Summer is too freaking full of stuff, is what it is. We also found this place that's got this farm down the road, 25-pound boxes of tomatoes from Granger County Tomatoes, like the good kind too, for $10 a box. So Samantha and I are like, shoot, we need to get down there and buy like 3-4 boxes and just can them in the autoclave and get all the tomato sauce for the year that we're going to want, canned stewed tomatoes and stuff. Anyways, the pears, you could do that with all kinds of fruit trees. And if you can find heritage stuff, all the better. Now, some of these things that are protected, sometimes they're protected for clonal propagation and not filial, so not pollen to, create like getting seeds and getting new varieties. So if you cross two varieties, that lowers the chances that you're dealing with something protected, but you're going to have to look up each type yourself. So now in order to know what they are, they're going to have them DNA tested. And I'm not saying that you should sell anyone else's genetics at all, but for your own propagation, I don't see that as being an issue. If you're going to run out with big farm, then a lot of times, it's best to just do the proper licensing and stuff anyways, because you're doing commercial work and that puts you in a larger risk category if you're caught doing that kind of stuff, Keep Sonic Culture. Oh, thanks, Hendrix. Yeah, guys, please like, subscribe. We're going to have another live stream Thursday. We got some cool stuff happening on the genetics front, the nutritional fronts, and all kinds of stuff. And if you want updates on all of that, you might want to subscribe. To subscribe, to like and subscribe is the best way to keep spawning culture. What? So they said it helps with other people's it helps with the algorithm to get us into other people's feeds and answer their questions too. And I like how she puts my selfishness in a selfless way. It's like the sexiest thing about her. She said, I think that's the very definition of unselfish. I agree. I agree. They should all follow me so that I can help them. I'm playing with you, Samantha. I'm twisting your words. Have you tried going more than 50% on the oak and oat mix? I really think the only drawback for working with that was the lower nitrogen content compared to Master's mix. It might have been. Ben and I and Samantha are looking at a few different supplements. So we've been looking at some mushroom nutrition, and there's a few other things that we think of or that we've thought of that might be better. I'm not going to talk about them right now because I want to do some thorough testing first. This is actually a good case usage for the Patreon being used for research purposes to fund specific research projects. So we're looking at that. But I have not gone more than 50-50 on the oak and oat. So I only need one good flush typically. So I usually just work with that. Though you can see, I mean, I've got a lot of pure sawdust. I've got a lot of pure fruiting blocks, and then we still do the 50-50 a lot of times. But I was looking at your Patreon, but I don't understand how it works. Can you explain it? Yeah, Plum, right now it's a huge mess because I've been considering getting out of it. So the truth is right now that it doesn't work that well. Now, what we do typically is people will get in and they will get a rank like they might agree to do the Mycomancer, you know, where they get like 3 strains per month from the Mycologium by, you know, paying per video. So what happens there is usually we ship about once a quarter or so. We've gotten further behind than that before, but we always catch up with people and we just ship the cultures out later as they're ready. So like right now, Just Power Sync, I think he was one of the Hericium ones. Was the Hericium Horde is the one that got the furthest behind. But I think we're all caught up with him except we got like 3 more syringes to ship to him. And that's kind of how it works is like usually you support us for a month or 2, you'll get a batch. You support us for another month or 2, you'll get a batch. Or it might be 3 months because we like I said, we're doing the quarterly shipping typically. Now that said, I'm considering moving over to to fund the research, and then people get the results of the research, and we don't share that on the main YouTube channel or anything else. Like if you want to be a part of we're working on a lot of educational material and a lot of other things to go through the Patreon. So stuff that's a lot easier to get out to people and provides a large value. And then we're going to focus on making the website the strain bank and probably take a lot of the strains off of Patreon and offer stuff like, well, there were some educational things we were talking about, like some private classes we were talking about maybe doing, but the research side of things was like, okay, hey, we want to test this substrate this month. Every month we want to test something, right? And we will test them, and then we will publish the results to that tier that is in the research category. And that way people can do a lot of, they can gain a lot of information and some of the cutting edge work that we're doing without it getting out into the greater world. And then we are not doing the burden of research entirely ourselves, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping to have it cleaned up much better than what it is currently. So thank you, Dish. I really appreciate that. Yeah, the heat is bad right now. Dancer Boy 86. I know that name from somewhere. I think I answered one of your comments earlier today or yesterday. Aaron, what's going on, buddy? I have some fully grown blocks of your reishi. How are you fruiting? Cut the top off, wait for pins. So honestly, I usually just do antlers with the golden antler reishi, which means I never open the bag. I just let it grow, and I let it grow till it hits the top of the bag, and then I cut it open, and I just harvest those. A bandsaw is going to be your best bet, even one of the small plumbing ones that you can get from Harbor Freight, and you can just sit there and run that bandsaw and just chop your reishi through it, and then you can dry those reishi chips, or you can just dry it as a full antler. Some people like to pack antlers. Some people like to like to pack the reishi chips, and then some people like to try to powder it. I've never had good luck powdering it. It's always very fluffy. So, speaking of, I've got to get some lion's mane and reishi. I'm getting covered up. I found chicken of the woods in North Carolina mountains years ago, but it was buggy and slightly rotted. Yeah, so the only way to salvage that typically is to I like to take a good knife when I go out foraging. Actually, let me show you guys this. What I need to do is get this on an affiliate link on Amazon. But I have somewhere over here. Ooh. I should have just stood up, but I thought it was going to be easier than this. Okay. So I like this right here. This is called a hori hori, Hori, and I get these off Amazon, and it's just basically a trowel, and it has a sharp, smooth blade, a serrated blade, a tip, and then I don't know if you can see that right there, but it's curved. And so it's kind of like a trowel. This is actually a really good backpacking tool, camping tool, if you need to dig a latrine or whatever as well. But the nice thing about this is that this allows you to really cut through roots and sod very easily. I will take this if I've got just like a root mat, especially with the aquatic stuff out here, and you can just slice right through different things. But this curve is not, it's not a super steep curve. And what's nice about this is you can actually get under roots, and this thing is made to where you can just really pry down and snap roots and stuff with it. So with working with the chicken of the woods or turkey tail or other mushrooms that I want to do this with, I'll take the log. You know, you'll have your log right here and your mushrooms growing out, and I'll take this and I'll just stab it in, and then I'll lever a chunk of wood out. And then when I have that, I'll try to take the base of the mushroom, and I'll take the base of the mushroom and wrap it in cardboard that I had wetted with boiling water, and then let it cool. And then I'll take it out and let it air dry a little bit. And then I'll take those strips of cardboard and I'll just roll up those chunks of wood. And I'll put it in a Ziploc bag and throw it in the fridge. And what's nice is that mycelium that goes through wood will oftentimes just grow through those layers of cardboard. And then now, if you've got mold, bugs, whatever that are tearing up your mushrooms or bacterial, your mycelium can grow through that cardboard and the bacteria can't. And now you can take that baggie to your lab once you see growth, unravel a piece, or even just grab a piece with a sterile pair of tweezers and then just tweeze those into dishes. And now you've been able to grab something that would have typically been too buggy or bacterial to capture. So that's usually the best way I've found. Now, chicken of the woods is usually easy because they're so thick that as long as they're fresh and not buggy, it's the easiest mushroom in the world to clone. But if anything is ever buggy like that, if it's just straight up like soupy, I don't have much hope for that, and I usually don't try at that point. But if something is just a little too buggy or a little too bacterial and there's still some good healthy growth in the center, I'll try to clean off as much of that stuff as I can without infecting the rest and then wrapping. But the wood is usually not super bacterial. Even if it is, it gets bacterial maybe on the outside of the piece that you pulled off, and it doesn't usually affect the inner part of the wood. So that's what I have found to be the easiest way. It's really funny when a lot of substrate recipes don't control for nitrogen, like raw carbon, heavy material versus 90% carbon, heavy plus 10% bran. Or corn cobs versus corn cobs plus 10% bran. The worst is when they compare pure sawdust versus corncob, just complete difference in nitrogen. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of nitrogen in sawdust, but there's a fair amount in corncob. The studies are almost always read more nitrogen equals more fruiting, nothing nuanced because they weren't controlled for nitrogen. Well, and this is kind of the problem with a lot of the studies is that you can't just say, oh, it's a study, therefore it's done well. For instance, the golden oyster study that's got everybody scared about it being invasive here in the U.S. It's one study. I don't even know if that study's been done super well. Sorry, it's like 2 studies now or 3, which the diversity study is silly. Of course, if you have an organism that is like the emerald ash borer and it is just killing a bunch of trees, and then you have an aggressive oyster come move in, of course that aggressive oyster is going to move in, particularly if it has a relationship with the emerald ash borer. And then, of course, you're going to see lower diversity because the pioneering species are going to take over. When you have a brush fire, you have a lot more plantain than you do trees. Therefore, the biodiversity is lower. Well, yeah, until you wait a little bit and things normalize. You can't just go into an environment that's into heavy transition and then make broad sweeping statements about it. That's poor studies. And that's what it sounds like, that they're not accounting for these things. It sounds like what the studies you're talking about, the frustrations you're talking about, are the same thing where you have no accounting for the nitrogen content. And it's like, this is something we already know. You're publishing studies, and it's like, great, corn cobs produces better. Well, corn cobs got nitrogen, so sawdust with a nitrogen supplement is the same, is much more similar to corn cob, right, than sawdust is to corn cob because of the nutritional profile. I mean, I feel like I completely understand your frustration there. Just finally composted over 5-year-old reishi in bags. How did that go? Or you're saying you just put them in compost? I've got reishi blocks that I threw in the composter, our black soldier fly larva composter. And I went out there, and it was like a year later, and I was like, these blocks have still not composted, until I grabbed them and picked them up, and they were completely hollow on the inside. So they just hadn't eaten that skin that was in the sunlight. But it took a long time for that reishi to break down. A long time. Oh, hey, Chrissy. Hey, Chrissy Stormborn. There you go. I see you on like Facebook all the time. Chrissy the Mushroom Medic. I like that logo. It's very nice. Okay, how did I not know the party had gone from Thursday to Tuesday? It only had because I missed last week. And I try to do 4 live streams a month for people. So I was on vacation last week. We went up to the mountains. And then Thursday night, we came back Thursday, and we had a going away party for a friend that we needed to attend to. And since I was already not doing a live stream, we just did that. So I'm doing a live stream today, and then I'm doing a live stream at my normal Thursday this week. Sounds like he said going away. He's going out. He's coming back. But I'm just not going to tell his business. He's going on like a 6-week find himself artistic retreat. And nobody has to know who it is, and now it's okay. No, he's not leaving permanently. No, those are farewell parties. I don't know. Just playing with you. Do you sell chicken of the woods? I do. I have. I don't know how many strains of chicken of the woods I have. I think I've got like 20, but I've only ever sold one strain. The one strain that I sell on the regular is usually just by request, and that is the one that I have fruited before. I've fruited multiple times. But I've got a bunch of wild ones. I've got ones from New York and out west and down south, and I got a bunch from the Cumberland Plateau, because that's where we always seem to find tons of chicken of the woods in the Cumberlands for some reason. Not as much in the Smokies, though. The year before last, or maybe it was last year, we found a chicken of the woods on Mother's Day when we went on that Mother's Day bike ride with my mom. And I think we found 2 more around that same time. Double party week. That's right, Chrissy. It's a double Andrew week is what it is. You get 2 of me for the price of 1. Are there any health benefits with chicken of the woods? I don't actually know. I don't know. We can look it up. Chicken of the woods health benefits. Huh? I'll look at peer reviewed later if it's something interesting enough to peer review. Okay, so they offer fantastic health benefits. This is Google's AI, including strong immune system support, high levels of antioxidants to reduce cell damage, and anti-inflammatory properties. Mushrooms are full of beta-glucans, so that's pretty much every mushroom, and vitamin C. So chicken of the woods is supposed to have high vitamin C. Maybe because it's orange, and orange things have high vitamin C. No, just playing. Fights inflammation. They contain special acids that help stop the body's swelling and lower the risk of inflammatory diseases. That's on WebMD. Protects cells. Brightly colored foods are often high in antioxidants like quercetin. These help your body clear out free radicals, which are harmful molecules that damage your cells. Now, interestingly enough, a lot of mushrooms have a lot of these antioxidants. And part of that is because mushrooms have a lot of antioxidants to protect themselves, and that because they use oxidants to pull food apart and actually digest it. So they live in a soup of oxidants that can cause oxidative stress on them. So then they also produce things to counter that, because they are little chemical factories. Humans are amazing mechanical things, and they are nice little chemical factories. Builds muscles. They are a complete protein, meaning they provide all the essential building blocks your body needs, making them a great food for vegetarians. That is, its reference there is YouTube, ediblewildfood.com. While mushrooms can have complete proteins, they are almost always in small amounts. And so mushrooms are not normally really a good protein. In fact, let's chicken of the woods protein content is about 14 grams of protein out of a 100 gram serving. That's actually pretty good. 30 to 35 calories for 100 grams for a 100 gram serving of fresh mushrooms is 30 to 35 calories. Less than 1 gram of fat, 6 grams of carbohydrates, and 3 grams of fiber. Chicken of the woods is packing some real nutrition. Interesting. So chicken of the woods, how many grams of protein does a person need again in a day? How many? Huh? It depends on your weight. Yeah, how many grams per pound, we'll say. So how many grams of protein do I need? As a baseline, a healthy sedentary adult needs 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or 0.36 grams per pound each day. Okay, so me, I weigh a lot. So times 0.36 grams, I need 108 grams of protein a day. Divided by 14 is 7. So I would need to eat about 700 grams of chicken of the woods per day to get my entire protein content for the day, which is surprisingly good, I bet, compared to oyster mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms have about 3 grams of protein per 100 grams per 100 gram serving. So chicken of the woods is packing. Dang, guys. Okay. Chicken of the woods may have become my do you like protein? I know you like protein. We got you. That's my favorite Taco Bell commercial. Do you remember that? Do you remember that commercial? Taco Bell commercial? Okay. Artistic friend, mayhaps with a very nice voice. Wait. What? Artistic friend, mayhaps with a very nice voice, mayhaps. To do what? What were we talking about? I just remember Mossy Creek keeps the live stream on T-Day. T-Day. Testosterone. Smith said T minus 3, 2, 1. It is on Tuesday and Thursday this week. It's on Thursday next week. The reishi survived over 5 years in a roughly 11-pound oak sawdust soy hull mix. Okay, cool. 5 years, a long time. Still alive, barely. Bags weighed under 1 pound, and we're still clean inside. Most amazing fungus smell after all. I bet, man, that probably had some real. Oh shoot, what do they call the taste that hits you right back here? Because the fungal proteins would have lived a long time and broken down. Umami, I guess, is the one I'm thinking of. I bet that hit you in the salivatory glands. I have a bag of rapeseed oil straw that comes sterilized. That's interesting. I've not heard of anyone growing on a rapeseed before. It's supposed to be more nutritious than normal straw because it's sterilized. Some producers in the UK use. Any experience of that? I don't. Patina, I'm beginning. Are you in the United States? Because you're asking me questions for more someone like Southeast Asia. Because it sounds like some of the stuff you're talking to me, like even the fermentation, that's a technique that's usually used in Southeast Asia. If that's the case, I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of the materials you guys have. Live in the UK. Okay, the UK. You guys have. Well, you did say producers in the UK use. It is interesting. I've not heard of anybody in the UK using rapeseed oil. Rapeseed oil straw. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's something similar. Something similar to rapeseed oil. Sunflower seed oil? Huh? In the UK? Oh, she said that's actually a major agricultural crop in the UK. Excuse me. So, that said, I haven't. We can look at the nutritional content really quick. Rapeseed oil straw. Rapeseed oil straw nutritional content. If you're asking about rapeseed straw, it's mostly used for animal bedding, low quality roughage. It is low in energy and contains almost no sugar or starch. Okay, that's kind of what we're going for. Crude protein of rapeseed straw is off 4 to 9%. Oh my gosh, that's almost perfect. Total digestible nutrients 20 to 55%. Crude fiber content of 48 to 51%. Calcium of 1.2 to 1.4%, higher than most cereal straws. That's fantastic. Because it is highly lignified or woody, livestock can only digest it slowly. It is not a primary. Oh my gosh, this sounds great. If you can get this cheap, like 9% would be a bit high, honestly, for protein, but 4.5 to 5% is usually what I shoot for in my substrates. And so this sounds like it may already be ready. You may not have to use anything else. And that would be fantastic. I'm gonna look up rapeseed straw in the US. I bet we grow, I recognize the flowers. I bet we grow it here. That's a gorgeous flower. Man, I bet that's awesome looking at fields of rapeseed oil. Like that looks freaking gorgeous. Yeah, you guys got to see this. Let me pull this up. There's been a decline in production of it. So, I mean, look at this. This is yeah. Well, that's a tiny little photo. Yeah, like that would be, oh my gosh, what kind of farmer wouldn't want to farm that? That's gorgeous. Just seas of yellow, bright yellow flower. That's almost alien looking. That's a beautiful plant. Okay. Yeah, I would totally try that. I would if you can get it and it's affordable. I would try just it. I really, if it's got that kind of protein content, then nitrogen is a protein bound molecule. So if your protein's high, usually your nitrogen's high. So I mean, at 4.5% nitrogen, the low end of that is going to be perfect. You may even get better yields at going up to a higher, 6% or something like that. Jake Wolves, here he is, gram per pound. Jake, you should look into rapeseed. I bet that's grown in like China and maybe even Russia, out where closer to where you're at. So I don't know if you have access to that. The straw, if it's in pellets, I don't know. I'm sure somebody's got to pelletize it. So, gram per pound. I'm assuming pushing that hard on protein, Chicken of the Woods would really benefit from a high amount of nitrogen in the sub. Well, now that you're mentioning that, I bet you're right. Because to get that higher protein, I mean, protein to protein is what that is, right? So, maybe we should try chicken. Wow, what? Chicken of the Woods, it gets vast fruitings on the logs. So this is something I'm going to have to talk to my module about. Where is it getting the nitrogen for the protein? I bet a protein shake could be made from the Chicken of the Woods. Probably. The problem is getting, like, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and he mentioned it to me, that part of it's getting the protein to dissolve, the mushroom powder to actually dissolve. I guess if it's a protein shake, that's not as difficult. You just wouldn't want to use just dry powder. I know people who have used like lion's mane powder in shakes before, and they didn't rehydrate it first, and they ate like a massive amount of dried lion's mane, and they were like, "Man, my stomach hurts." I'm like, "Yeah, you ate like 2 pounds of mushrooms, and when it rehydrated, it's like, of course your stomach's going to be upset." So there would be a couple of things to figure out, but I think that you're absolutely right. It could be. And I wonder, like, okay, if the mycelium has any protein in it, Chicken of the Woods mycelium is so easy to grow in a liquid format. Like, you could probably really get. The question is, how much protein can you get in the mycelium? Or is it all converted and stored in the fruit? Have you used the larger feed type corn or whole corn for spawn? They have it near me right now for 25 cents a pound. I wanted to give it a try, but figured I'd heard it. So people use popcorn, and I've used corn before, and corn has never, like corn grain, whole grains, has never performed well for me by itself. As part of a larger mix, like we used to have the Mossy Creek medley. I missed that so much. It just became too hard to find all three at the same time. But we had sorghum, what did we have? Sorghum, corn, and oats. We also had white Milo in it. Well, that's sorghum. Milo is sorghum. Yeah, we had red and white Milo. It just kind of depended on what we were just buying whatever we could get at the time. I prefer the red for the color. Like, I just like the red Milo is prettier. I think the red Milo was also cheaper. But we used to use that, and we used to have whole corn in that. That was about 25% of the mix. And we never had a hard time finding corn. The Milo or the oats or whatever would go out. So we just repositioned back on pure oats or oats and sawdust. That's our mix primarily these days. Too big to hydrate properly, too dirty, not enough surface area. I usually supplement my corn with some millet to add knock points, so I'm not that worried about that one. But any thoughts? So Lee, for one thing, I would just get away from millet. Millet's too expensive. Just throw some sawdust in there. Throw some sawdust pellets in, and you have way more inoculation points. If inoculation points are your goal, you want sawdust. If you want nutrition, you want to stay away from corn. Corn is more sugar and a lot less of the other types of nutrients. Honestly, if you're wanting to go pure nutrition, oats are the king. Milo would be second. Millet would probably be pretty high on that list, but millet is so expensive. It's like $70, $80 for a 50-pound bag typically. Some people live in places where they can get it a little cheaper, but around here we don't get it anywhere near that cheap. But Milo, all that kind of stuff could be found for, pretty low. Sunflower seeds work pretty well too, but they're usually, I think we end up paying like $20 per. I think it's like $23 per 20-pound bag, so it's not worth it. How about corn cobs? Corn cobs is a substrate. It does work really, really well for oysters, at least. I've not tried anything else on corn cobs, but oysters work really well in corn cobs, especially if they're dehydrated and chipped and all that stuff. Is what Samantha said, and she's right. Like, we've done whole kernel cobs. Like, we'll eat sweet corn and then throw the whole kernel corn cob in there. So this says she feels like the feed corn cobs seem to do better than the sweet corn. Yeah, I think that's because the sweet corn's grown for sugar content, and the feed corn's probably starchier. Now I don't know how that affects the cobs, but somehow it seems like it does. I live in the UK. The ferment question came from okay, that's why. Gotcha, Patina. Okay, so that Paul got that from the Southeast Asian growers, which I got a lot of techniques from the Southeast Asian growers in the beginning as well. I was just kind of hoping you might be able to source me a milky mushroom culture or something if you were over there. I've been dying to get a fruiting strain of the milky mushroom. I'm going to talk to Dr. Ed Grand and see if Ed, do you know a way I can get this or someone I can order this from? Because right now, temperatures in the hundreds, Fahrenheit, we could totally be growing milky mushroom right now. It would be so cool. It's like a what? Oh, it says like 110 in the warehouse. Yeah, I don't know that. I've not been out there. But yeah, a lot of us that got started, Paul got started obviously way earlier than I did. When I got started, it was like 2008, and there wasn't, like, YouTube was born 2008 or 9 or something like that. So, or around that time. So, there wasn't a lot of mushroom content. So what I did find was a lot of stuff from Southeast Asia. So, and that's where I knew about the fermentation technique. But my understanding is that it's not terribly effective except in certain climates. Rice hulls are popular for plant and mushroom cultivation in most of Asia. Also, some island nations. I think the Dominican Republic, or was it Puerto Rico? Dominican Republic, I think, where we had some growers that were having a hard time. They were having to ship sawdust in, and then we found out that there was a rice plantation there, and they were able to get rice straw and rice hulls and grow on those from a local source. And so they didn't have to buy that stuff in anymore. But rice hulls work really well, I've heard. I've never used them myself. Chicken the wood could get from the bark and even extracts if it can digest that even. We do grow rapeseed, tons and tons of it. They usually just spit the straw back out into the field for fertilization. I couldn't even get spit mush after the oil extraction either. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Should look up in Russia. It'd be nice if you can find a pellet manufacturer. And if you go to one of the pellet mills, you can ask them to source that stuff for you. And I don't know, they might find it useful for people other than yourself. Russia. Again, I could just go with either sunflower hulls or pellet feed or brand from Russia. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, if you've already got choices, there's no point in trying to manufacture another one. That makes sense to me. Right, I always forget about sawdust. Yeah, sawdust is the way to go. If you want inoculation points, that's the way. I think honey locust pods have high sugar content that can be utilized as a grain bag nutritional supplement. Well, and that sugar is bound up typically in the pod. So it's not just loose sugar, which is nice because that's the whole thing is that our fungi can break things open, right, to get to the goodness on the inside, but bacteria can't usually. So give me 1 second, guys. I need to try to add a file. We're gonna have to figure out. Hold on a second. Okay. Cool. Let's see if I can get this to add. Awesome. Cool. So it's going to do it while we're talking. Great. Means I don't have to do anything else. All right. Been getting millet around $50. That's actually pretty good. $1 per pound. I haven't found Milo locally recently. Yeah, that can be pretty tricky. We live in around an area where they grow Milo, so it makes it a little easier for us. But it's nothing like in the Midwest. Like our grain choices kind of shift throughout the year. Unfortunately, oats are one that we can thankfully get, but we have to get it through a chain like Tractor Supply, or we have to try to order. Get it from people who get it in bulk here locally, kind of stuff. Nice. Might give the cobs a go then. Found those cheap too. Yeah, my understanding is like the bedding cob, the corn cob that's used for bedding, it works perfect. You're very welcome, Lee. I hope I can answer many, many more for you. Jake Wolves, milky mushroom in the fridge. Seriously? I can try and get some cultures. Dude, so it's a tropical. I think that being in the fridge will kill it, won't it? And if you can clone it and get it going, I want it bad. The problem is by the time I get it this year, I won't be able to grow it this year. So, but if you can get it, then I can at least get the culture and try it next year. Dr. Ed uses patty rice that has the complete hull and says it's amazing. I don't doubt that. The patty rice straw is like almost perfectly formulated. I think once the hulls are added back to it. Which mushroom are you referring to in Calocybe indica? Yep, that's it. Calocybe indica is exactly the one I've been wanting to get. I got a culture from Aloha years and years and years and years ago, but it never fruited. I never saw a picture of their fruits. I don't even know if they knew if it fruited or not. I also got a patty straw one from them that never fruited, but I just chalked that up to because that one apparently needs incredible heat in order to fruit. Huh? Consistently, yeah. Fungi. I've been harvesting second flush. Oh, the one from Mycelium Important. Also, I've never gotten to fruit. I've been harvesting second flushes of lion's mane outdoors. Occasionally, there's some contamination on the surface. Are these safe to eat? Or secondary metabolite mycotoxins is concerned? So I've been harvesting second flushes of lion's mane. Occasionally, there's some contaminant on the surface of the mushroom or the mycelium. If it's like so, I'll just put it this way: if I've got a mushroom and it's got like a couple of mold spots on it, I'll just grab that part of the mushroom and pull it off. And as long as it looks healthy underneath, and then I'll eat that. I've never had a problem with that as long as I treat it. I don't sell contaminated mushrooms, but I don't have a problem eating them myself as long as it's something easy like that. If it's covered in mold, probably wouldn't do it. If the mushroom underneath the lion's mane is getting mushy, probably wouldn't do that. So, but otherwise, I think it would be perfectly safe. I can't guarantee it because I can't see what you're talking about. So just know that if you do poison yourself, it's not my fault. Just want to make sure. I have to have that liability curtain right there. What? No. Seriously, that many people might actually be out there and be like, Andrew told me to do it. Andrew said it was perfectly safe. Have you used sunflower hulls for supplementation? Impressions, expensive in the UK, but I now realize I can just grow them as microgreens and use discarded husks. So I've never tried sunflower hulls for supplementation. I do plan to at some point. I don't have any issues with the trying of it. In fact, I've got we're about to get a sample from a larger pellet mill or whatever of the stuff to see if we can use it well. There are some, it seems good, but there seems to be some potential concerns with it. Excuse me. So, we'll see. That might be one of those things that I put out as a research Patreon. Or that might be something that we do as a more public thing. I'll have to figure that out first. But real quick, guys, I need to go potty for just a moment. So I will be right back. Word from the El Sponsoro. Oh, hold on. I got to clear that comment. Be right back, guys.
Faster. plate ever. Push it, test it, break it, better. Strongest stir plate ever.
All right, I'm back. Ooh. Thank you to that sponsorship, by the way, of Man of War. They get to be an official sponsor now. So use code Mossy if you buy from Man of War. It'll save you, 10%, I think, on your order. So you want one of the best stir plates in the world. That's what you want. Have you tried fruiting honey mushrooms? Yes, I have fruited them very successfully. They are not difficult. No, you had it in sub. How do they taste? Do they taste good? Did you ever try the honey mushrooms? No. You were afraid to? Oh, we had a guy at market. We were selling honey mushrooms, and he came up and he was like, "You're gonna poison someone," and yelling at Samantha. I wasn't even there because he poisoned his wife. Now, the thing about honey mushrooms is you're not supposed to drink alcohol and eat the mushroom. They react badly with each other. So you have to cook them at a certain like a certain temperature for a certain amount of time. Is the idea? Now, huh? But that batch had been we had that batch confirmed in identification. This guy was just being really rude. So Samantha's always got a little bit of Samantha's an ultra cautious person, but I ate them. I didn't think they tasted that good, honestly. But I like certain mushrooms and not all mushrooms. So I'm not like every mushroom is amazing. Some mushrooms just taste bad to me. Now I didn't think honey mushrooms tasted bad. They were like button mushrooms, but earthier, maybe more fungi-y tasting. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. Probably partly the way I prepared it. I probably could have added some flavors and it would have done better. It just wasn't my favorite. And then when you add the fact that you can't have you got to be careful not to drink alcohol with it. It was the mushroom I never felt comfortable selling to restaurants. Now, you talk about one of the coolest looking mushrooms to grow, though. Those big tentacles that they grow that in the bag. They grow that in liquid culture. They grow it in agar. It looks like, it's terrifying, Samantha said. It looks like something from Stranger Things. It's beautiful. Maybe not beautiful. It's beautiful to me. Samantha thinks it's creepy. Why? Is that what you're laughing about? How I think? Like, my mom sent a video to us today, and she was like, look, I was just minding my own business, and look what came up. And it was a snake. And I was like, oh, she's so pretty. And my mom's like, if you say so. And I'm like, I do say so. The mushroom is literally called the meadow maker because it uses those tentacles. It grows those out and uses that tentacle to grow around a plant root, like a tree root, and then it chokes it until it dies. So it'll grows that tentacle out from it's got a mycelial mat like normal. Then it grows this tentacle and it wraps it around the root and constricts it, and then just chokes it out until that root dies, and then it consumes the root, and it'll do that over and over and over again until the living thing that takes up the most surface area in the world is a honey mushroom mat out west, but it's not hard to grow at all, especially the Mellea, Mellea species. That is probably the easiest one to grow, but it is not. It's not my favorite eating, to be honest. It was just super cool. It's more cool to grow than anything. I actually find myself with that a lot. Like brewing beer. I love to brew beer. I love to distill whiskey. I love to make alcohol. I don't really like drinking it. It's pretty funny. Like every now and then, I'll like get into the supply of mead, and I'm like a bear that gets drunk on mead after that. But it's like one day out of the year I'll do that. maybe once every 2 years. I probably haven't done that for 3 or 4 years at this point. But I love making alcohol. I don't know what it is. I'm obsessed with the process. It's like mushrooms. I like mushrooms. I like mushrooms more than I like alcohol. But I don't eat mushrooms with every meal. But I grow mushrooms every day. I don't like. I'm more obsessed with the processes of things, I think. So, and yeah, for my Mycelium Emporium, I've not. I think the last thing I got his lion's paw recently to try, but I hadn't the milky mushroom. I hadn't had any luck on. Now I think he said that he did have someone send him photos. I don't know if that's correct or not. I could be remembering that wrong. So, maybe that was my fault. We'll see. I'm planning on trying again at some point, and I'll try a bunch. But I even to be honest, my last I bought the lion's paw. It's doing well so far, but I've not grown it yet. It's just I just put it on agar and liquid culture. The last thing about before that was one of the bioluminescent, the Panaleus species, I think. Panaleus species, yeah. And it's not grown anything, but the one I got from a different lab grew. But I'm waiting to get 2 or 3. I'd like to get 2 or 3 different unrelated strains of glow-in-the-dark mushrooms. I want to do a selective breeding program. I want to try to see how much I can increase bioluminescence by going from filial generation to filial generation. I think that would be a super cool experiment. I had a whole chicken pen full of growing millet after I harvested the chickens. I harvested the millet. We have horrible soil, so that stuff will grow in anything, basically. They got chicken in the woods? Growing in millet? Wait. I had a whole chicken pen full of growing millet after I harvested the chickens. I harvested the millet. Oh! You're saying millet will grow in anything. I got you. Man, I completely misread that. My bad. Definitely don't let milky go below 55. That's what I've heard, and that it can be quite the problem if it does. Any thoughts on rapidly rehydrating dry blocks in a vacuum chamber with water? I would love to try it. I've never tried it. I don't have a vacuum chamber. I've considered building one specifically to play around with this. There are people who say that you can't rehydrate mycelium and it come back. But I know Joe Foy has done it. We've talked about it. And I've done it. So I don't know. It would be interesting to try. Do I have something in my beard? I do. What was that in my beard? It's probably a piece of duckweed. After I sold those plants to people, I found 4 pieces of duckweed in my beard. And I was like, great. So they were probably sitting there talking to me while I had duckweed in my beard. I mean, at least it's authentic, right? But yeah, Lucid, I think that would be a really interesting experiment. If you do it, don't just do it. You have to document it, okay? Because it's science if you document it. If you don't, you're just fucking around. Bummer. Uh-oh. Would we bummer, Betty? I don't know what happened here. It's because of the delay on the chat. Sorry, what are the potential concerns about sunflower holes you mentioned earlier? There's a few. I don't know that they're actual concerns. This is just things people spout. I don't know that it's a problem. So some people say because the oils can go rancid, but if it's sterile, it can't go rancid. They talk about the oils that the mushrooms don't like that, but from my experience, mushrooms love sunflower seeds, even though people say that the oils are bad for them. They always seem to like it. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. There are common knowledge concerns, but like in most industries, the common knowledge is just ignorance. So I don't know that there is any concerns. I don't know that there aren't any concerns, if that makes any sense. I still need to try sunflowers. So I've grown on sunflower seeds, just as a grain spawn choice, though I guess it's more of a seed spawn choice. And it did great with whole sunflowers, black oil whole sunflowers, like you're typically using birdseed mixes. It's just that it's so expensive that it's not worth it when you can get oats and stuff. I was thinking substrate and only a small patch. I just have heard that mycotoxins can leach into the mycelium regardless. Just want to be safe. Thanks for the answer. You're very welcome. I've not had any issue. And again, if you're being cautious about it, take more than you think. Oh, this is a tiny little spot. Take off a layer. Maybe take off a little extra layer. And then you've still got mushroom there. But I don't think it's going to like penetrate real deep. Mold's typically pretty surface, though it does have filaments that go underneath. So, but you're probably going to see some sort of reaction from the mushroom if it's growing through. Interesting thought, Lucid Monkey. I'm a mold maker and I have a nice big vac chamber. I'd love to try it with small grains like millet or milo, but they probably just blow up. They probably would. Sawdust might be a good way to go. So if you have a sawdust-based substrate, they say that spores can survive the vacuum of space. I don't know if mycelium can, or if I don't know if mycelium can hold that difference, or if it would basically turn the mycelium inside out as well. What I would love to do, Lee, would be to take a sample and I wonder if you could use like a chamber vac to do the same thing. But what I would do is love to take like regular sample of mycelium from liquid culture or sawdust and look at it through the microscope. And then I would like to run it through the chamber vac and then look at it through the microscope again. And see if we can see any obvious cell explosions. That'd be pretty neat. That'd be a neat little experiment. My dad's got a chamber vac if that'll pull enough vacuum. I agree with you on the mushroom preferences. I only like some mushrooms and not all of them. I don't like patty straw mushrooms for some reason. I've heard they can be slimy, and a lot of people, that's a texture thing. Like, I don't like bananas. And it's not the flavor, because I love, love, love banana pudding. It is literally the texture of bananas that I hate. If I try to eat a banana, it's like trying to watch Ron Swanson do it, where I sit there and start like gagging every time, I put it in my mouth. Huh? I don't like oatmeal either. Yeah, it's a texture thing. I'm trying to learn to like oatmeal. Whenever I used to go backpacking with a buddy of mine, we used to eat oatmeal every morning for breakfast, and I would just choke it down. But I'll put it to you this way. I dislike oatmeal so much that Ben and I, when we used to work at the factory, I used to eat oatmeal dry, and people used to call me a horse. They're like, "You're just eating dry oats?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's the only way I like oats, and oats are good for you. So I'll just eat dry oats and then drink a bunch of water." So people would just laugh and laugh and laugh. But it's the texture. I don't like the oatmeal. I just like oats. Oh yeah, in a smoothie, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with oat powder. I'm okay with oat flavor. I even actually really enjoy the flavor of oats. Like dry oats don't really bother me. I just kind of feel like I'm a minotaur or something, just sitting there chewing my cud. But we used to drink yerba mate on our breaks and eat dried oats. And fish salad. I love fish salad. And oats are in fish salad. Or salmon patties. We put oats in salmon patties. We put, what else do we put oats in? Bread. We make a bread that's got oats in it. Samantha used to make these muffins that she'd put oats in it. Like she put protein powder and oats in it, and anything to try to make Andrew eat, like more good things. Oatmeal cookie muffins. That oatmeal cookies, that's another oat thing I don't like. I do not like oatmeal cookies. Those little wet, like cold cookies that people make. Nope. But yeah, I mean, there's certain things that I just like. Like I love the banana pudding with the wafers in it, the crunchy bits. I like my crunchy bits. No, I had chickens. I feed them a seed mix that had corn, wheat, berries, millet, etc. They didn't like the millet, so it sat in the pen. After I harvested the chickens, the millet grew and I harvested it. I got you now. It took me a second to figure it out, but I got it figured out. I need to clip that. It's science it's science if you document it. Yeah, there you go. Clip it. If you don't document it, you're just fucking around. Well, so I will tell you that's a saying I've heard. It's not original to me. But I've always been told, just write it down and you're doing science. So that way you can fuck around all you want and call it science. Do what? At least you're getting data. But yeah, we should clip that. In fact, I might make that the sign off of every video. Just document it. If you don't document it, or if you document it, it's science. If you don't, it's just fucking around. Huh? Oh, a t-shirt. That'd be a good t-shirt. How long is it okay to wait with inoculating all-in-one grow bags after they are sterilized or pasteurized? I'm trying to figure out my scheduling of my grow cycles. So this is one of those questions that it depends, but Try not to let it sit for more than a couple weeks. I've had bags that we have made it into blanks and never sealed, just left them folded up. And we had bags that lasted up to 1.5 years without ever seeing visible growth in them. But we went from 10 bags to like 2 bags. So contamination is not just a straight flat thing. It's a exposure over time thing. So the longer the time, the greater the exposure. Or, sorry, the greater the amount of time or the greater the exposure, the more likely you are to get contamination. So if they're perfectly sealed and the filter, like even to the filter, then you're probably okay, because if it's perfectly sealed, ain't nothing getting in there to contaminate it. But if you've got a filter patch there and the filter patch is allowing air exchange, you have a higher chance of contamination. If you don't seal the ends of your bags, if you have a wrinkle in that bag at all, temperature differences are going to bring air in and out through that channel, and that's going to increase your chance of contamination. So it's always best to do it as quickly as possible. You don't want to leave stuff out if you can, because filters always fail. Filters fail. That is one of our sayings here. You actually look at it. Even the filters, when you buy them, it's already written in there that it's going to fail. 99.99%. That means you have a 0.01% chance to fail. That filter is failing immediately. It's just about whether or not that mold spore gets through that failure point. And the longer you leave it, the more likely it is to fail at the point where you have like a hole or weakness or whatever. I bought a cheap 5-gallon chamber on Vivor. First set of Piopinos is starting to fruit. Control was not rehydrated. I will have yield results soon. So you've done this. Do you have it published somewhere? Are you going to publish it somewhere? Where can we see this when you're done with it, Monkey? Lucid Monkey? I don't know which one to call you. We'll go with Lucid. That's a great idea. Never would have thought to look at it under the scope. I just finally scored a decent replacement for my 30-year-old one at the Salvation Army a few weeks ago. That's pretty cool. What kind of glass does it have on it? That's my problem with a lot of the used ones is you'll get like an Olympus scope, and they'll take the optics off, or a Nikon scope with the really nice Nikon optics, and they'll take it off and they'll swap it out with something else. They'll buy something else. They'll keep their old optics, because that's the problem with microscopes. Dr. Ed and I were talking about, Dr. Ed Grant and I were talking about this the other day, and he talked about this in the class that he taught for us, the mushroom breeding class that he just did, where it's kind of like a camera. Your DSLR body is expensive-ish, but your real money is in your optics, your lenses. And so hopefully they left you a nice set of lenses on there, because sometimes people do that and some people don't, and it always kind of pisses me off when they don't. But yeah, look at it, man. If it says like Nikon or Olympus or whatever, then you probably have a really nice set of optics. And if that's the case, that's the kind of find you want to hold on to. Like, you'll want to keep that microscope for the rest of your life, kind of thing. Or at least those optics. You can buy a new body and put the old optics on there. What's up, Ted? You wanting up here? Why do you always want on my lap during a live stream? It's weird. Like, he never wants on my lap. He always wants on yours, and then, hey, bud. Why don't you look at the screen? You see that? Look, see that? Do you see that? You're not even going to look. Give the people what they want. There you go. If you're going to be my little, what do you call it? My villain mascot, my Dr. Evil Naked Cat, you're going to have to give the people what they want. That's how we villains make it, buddy. Yeah, we villains. We villains for the people. That's right. We give the people what they want. Isn't that right, buddy? Oh. Rolled oats are way easier to digest than a wheat berry. Like for humans or for mushrooms? Probably for both. Rolled oats are usually, I think, what I ate dry. And yeah, I loved that stuff. Ugh. But for the mushrooms, it might be... Oh my gosh. What the hell, dog? Okay. My little baby. He's just a baby. Just a baby. Oh, you're making this difficult, Ted. Okay, you're going to do sit-ups now. Okay, if you're just going to move around, you can just go back. Oh, sorry, Squanch. Just checking on you. Squanch is sick. My cat, my little orange cat you guys always see, he's not doing too good. Andrew, not a mushroom guy. Yeah, I guess I am at this point. Bill Nye was always one of my favorites, anyways. I liked him back in the day. I don't know. I mean, I don't watch anything. I don't even know if he's in anything anymore, but he's a big part of my childhood. Huh? He's advocating for a lot of space stuff. Well, that's true. He was part of. That's you're right. I forgot because he was part of the Planetary Society, and I bought into years ago that the solar sail. I've got the mission patch from that. Yeah, and I got a certificate where I have ownership in a spacecraft that is now disintegrated. So I have a thread on Facebook, mushroom growing for beginners and experts, that I will update when I have results. Anywhere else you recommend I share the results? So I'll check. I'll see if I can check that out. I don't do Facebook a lot. Where would I recommend? Our Discord's a good place to do it. The Mossback Mushroom the Mossback Syndicate is our Discord group. That's a good one. Usually people get on that through the Patreon, but I don't know where else I would. Let me see. Instagram, I guess, maybe, but I mean, honestly, Facebook mushroom growing for beginners and experts is probably a really good place. I would say mushroom growing, but that group has gotten so big that I feel like it's just not as useful as it used to be. They eventually just grew to the point that it's just like shouting into the void. So it is called Chicken of the Woods because of how it looks, taste, texture, or combo of those. Pretty much, yeah. That's my understanding. Is just because, culinarily speaking, it is so like chicken, and it is really, really, really very like chicken, in pretty much every way that I've ever had. Looking for some psilocybin consensus that's not in cow shit. The only place I could tell you to really go would be Full Canopy Genetics out in Colorado. I really like those guys for that kind of stuff. They'll sell you liquid culture that's they test their batches, so it's below the detectable limit, and so it's perfectly legal to buy. And Full Canopy is basically the place I've always directed any of my students to go if they want any sort of the active genetics. They also sell my liquid culture premix, so it's a whole nother reason to, support them. And I like Santi and Spoon and those guys quite a bit. Is that why my monitor somehow was propped up on my speaker? I will try experimenting with 2 weeks, and we'll be sure to document it for science sake. Thanks again for sharing. It's always valuable to hear from direct lived experience. So the best way, in my opinion, to do that would be to, if you've got a standard batch size, cook a batch and then just set it on a shelf and just wait. And then operate under that. So like right now I have we've frozen spawn before, right? Like, so let's say blue oyster mushrooms. We've taken 5-pound bags of spawn, and people are like, "Oh, you can't just freeze spawn." Shoot, we started doing it and it worked great. So we tried for 6 days and then using it, and it worked. Then we pulled a bag out that had been in there for 6 weeks, and then 6 months, then a year, and then a year and a half. And I will say that the bags worked perfectly, and even like the ones that had been frozen for a year seemed like they worked even better, statistically speaking. Minorly statistic wouldn't say that it was statistically relevantly higher, but they definitely performed better. But then the year and a half mark, it's like it took them an extra day or two to wake up. But I mean, there you are, blue oyster spawn freezing. So like, if you do that and then write that stuff down, You can get some serious, like, this is the way I always do it. If you do an experiment and you just design the experiment to push it to the point of failure, you're going to learn more from the failures, right? It's one of the reasons why SpaceX has learned so much by shooting rockets off the way they have. They literally go, this experiment, we're going to push it to this point, this point, this point, and this point. And at this point, it should fail. And if it fails before that point, then we've learned a lot to that point. And so they learn more from their failures. And this is something that you can do as well, as literally set your operation up to have some things fail so that you can learn those stress points. It's a great way to do it. But yeah, like, lived experience is great. Writing it down is great too. Those are two different types of knowledge. Externalized, civilized knowledge is science, and then you have lived experience. Have you tried that Mexican fungal corn? If you're talking about what lechocle, I don't know how you say it. I forgot. Corn smut, as it's commonly known in English. Terrible name. Corn truffles is a much better name. I worked on Project Corn Smut back in the day when the Commercial Mushroom Growers Network was an actual, edge breaking thing. Back when Joey Schlegel was running it, and that was fantastic. And we had a whole logo with a lady riding a corn cob, like a pinup riding a corn cob thing. You loved it, and in fact, you're the one that wouldn't let me throw away that one where she's riding the syringe. What are you making faces for? Spencer's like, stop! Don't throw away. It's Agar Addicts. Agar Addicts had a thing where this pinup girl. I think she's holding the syringe. I don't think she's riding the syringe. But like the one that was for the corn smut was basically like that bomb from World War II, where they had that pinup girl riding it. But a lot of the Spencer remember a lot of the vintage illustrations and stuff from back at that time. Yeah, but the idea was there a bunch of different people tried growing corn and doing the corn smut in different conditions, and the part that people found the best was it's a biphase grower and so what happens is in the dish it'll grow like a mycelial phase, and then it grows what looks like a bacterial phase. It's literally not a blastospore. Blastospore is the cordyceps fragmental mycelium. Well, anyways, it doesn't matter. It grows this like black goo. Now, if you take that black goo and you put it in like a water carrier, not with non-chlorinated, and you can put that in like a backpack sprayer, when you go through a cornfield and it has the corn tassels, those tassels are where the pollen lands. So a piece of pollen lands on the end of that tassel, and the pollen then germinates and grows. And when it grows, it'll grow all the way up that tassel and back down. And each one of those each one of those threads in that tassel is a pollen tube to a kernel of corn. Each one of those must be pollinated, or you'll have kernels of corn missing. So the mold spore, if you can get the spore on that pollen tube, it will grow up that pollen tube, grows down to where that corn kernel is, and then it basically takes that cell, the nucleus, and it rips the genetic material from the corn out and injects its own DNA in there, and then the corn works really, really hard to replicate that DNA, and it just replicates its parasite's DNA. And it's an awful kind of thing for the corn, but it is apparently one of the tastiest things in the world. I've not had it canned, and I've only had it fresh one time, and I remember it having kind of a how do you explain it? Like, this has been over 10 years ago now, the last time I tried it, but it's like the organ meat of mushrooms. if that, like that's not going to be that's appealing to me. I don't know that's appealing to other people. It's got a richness to it that a lot of other mushrooms don't have, and it's sweet, and it's kind of fungally. Like it's a bunch of flavor. It's one of those. So it's kind of like truffles in that like truffles are. I've heard truffles described as it tastes and smells like dirty gym socks, sweat, sex, but in a good way. And I'm like, okay, I can kind of like get that. But then if you tell some people that, they're like, that sounds not appealing at all. So, it's one of those things you have to like, it's not easily described because there's not really a flavor like the corn smut. Was that Teddy? You're very welcome, Clay. It's nothing crazy, but looks like a good, solid university level biology scope with a couple for eyes and 4 lenses. Okay, so that sounds like a compound scope. So you got they're glad that it's not one of the monocle scopes. I hate those monocle scopes. 4 lenses. I mean, that's what my I've got 2 compound scopes with that. Yeah, you want like a 10 times. I got like a 10 times, 20 times. No. 10 times, 40 times, 100 times, and 1,000 times? I think that's right. With one of them's an oil immersion lens. So get you some good oil too. You can use cooking oil. Was it just like Alan Rockefeller was actually the one that taught me that you can use I think it's just canola oil. It doesn't work as well, but it still works better than air. Can't remember the brand offhand, but it looks almost brand new. That's excellent, man. I mean, even if it's Amscope, like being able to pick it up cheap, like even an Amscope, like I use Amscopes. That's all I have is Amscopes. I wish I had an Olympus. I want an inverted scope. I want an inverted scope bad, and I found them on eBay. I came this close to getting one, but I just, I've got debts to pay. People, I'm not buying expensive microscopes. How do I eat mushrooms? Typically, you cook them, and then you put them in your mouth. And if you chew them and swallow them, you have eaten them. It really depends on the mushroom, man. Like mushrooms are when people don't think about this a lot, but the mushroom kingdom is the mushroom kingdom, right? The fungus is its own kingdom, the way plants are, and they're both incredibly diverse. So when it comes to edible plants and edible fungi, you have a huge diversity to work with, more so than what we're used to eating. And the truth is that each one of them is best cooked in its own way. So, I mean, like, honestly, if you're new to mushrooms, depending on where you're at, you're going to have one type that you're going to find more than the other. So in a lot of Western countries, you're going to come across buttons and portobellos first. If you can, and you're in the U.S., and you can get yourself some of the spinach and cheese stuffed portobello caps, that's a great place to start. You can throw those on a grill, and you can go with it. Oysters, to me, oysters are probably the cleanest tasting mushroom. They are mushroom that has mushroom flavor and very little other flavor to it. Now that's changing. Our Old Road oyster and our Mossy Creek oyster have a ton of flavor compared to other oysters. That Mossy Creek oyster and the Old Road, I'm actually growing those out to breed those together right now. Working entirely on a new pulmonarius line. So I'm selectively breeding 3 or 4 lines together and then going down into a couple of F2 generations in the next year. But it really just depends on what you've got available. It's hard to beat frying mushrooms. Usually what a lot of people will do is if you can put them in a pan, a little butter, a little garlic, a little onion, and just saute them up real good, then you're going to get a really good feel for what that mushroom flavor is like. Wow, Krosker. Hi, guys. Quick question about lion's mane pinning. I'm running 2 different genetics. I call them N1 and N2. I've grown buff successfully before, but right now my N1 is being super stubborn and won't pin after cutting the bag. Any tips on how to trigger a stubborn lion's mane strain? So, Krosker, probably your temperatures have shifted. from the last time you grew it to now. And if that's the case, then sometimes a cold shock works really well to kind of jigger those white rots into fruiting. Sometimes it won't. It really depends on what it's going to, cause pinning. Usually for lion's mane, I don't have a lot, that it requires to pin. So, a photo period, so light, and fresh air and humidity is usually enough triggers for hericiums. But if you're having trouble, that usually means that you've drifted outside the temperature range of that strain. So we've got a strain called Dyson Sphere. It basically, if you're not growing it in real hot heat, like if you're growing it like 65 degrees in your grow room, it will never fruit. The moment you throw it out in your compost pile outside and it's hot, it'll fruit. So Dyson Sphere is like our warm temperature tolerant, or high temperature tolerant lion's mane. But then you have lion's mane strains that want to grow more in cool temps. And that is more normal. So typically, if you're in the northern hemisphere of the world, and you're in summer right now, you're probably getting into temperatures that are more difficult to fruit the widest variety of strains in. That's just without knowing anything else, that's my best guess, is that a cold shock would probably help, or lowering the temperature of your grow room. Speaking of failure, moon pearl and pine. No pearls, just crazy useless growth. Aw, that's really, King Blue does so well. I would expect moon pearl to do really well on pine. That's disappointing. I appreciate you sharing that though, because I've not tried it on pine, and that would be really, really bad if I tried to grow out a full crop on pines. You're very welcome, Crosscar. I hope it helps. I really do hope that you get some pinning after that. All right, guys, we're going to do a sponsor real quick, and then we will be right back.
Introducing the future of mycology, Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery. This isn't your average culture mix. It's a revolution in a packet, crafted for the dedicated cultivator seeking unparalleled growth. Experience the visual alchemy of this masterful brew. As you mix 10 grams with 500 milliliters of water, watch the solution transform into a rich, amber spectacle, the hallmark of a nutrient-dense sanctuary for your burgeoning mycelium. This is where vibrant color meets vibrant life, setting our elixir apart from the ordinary clear liquid cultures. Prepare to be captivated. Mix 10 grams of Dr. Silurian's elixir with 500 milliliters of water, add a stir bar for thorough integration, and sterilize the blend at 15 psi for 45 minutes. Once cooled, introduce your favorite culture into this perfectly prepared, nutrient-rich environment. Watch in awe as the elixir works its magic, unveiling a mycelial masterpiece before your eyes. Choose Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery for a mycological adventure that's as visually enchanting as it is potent.
Welcome back. Dr. Silurian's, get you some. That is probably the product I am the most proud of making. And I got a new review on it today. We had someone, he bought a full 500 grams each of the Spore Kindler and the Elixir, so our agar premix and our liquid culture premix, and really just talked it up. So that was a super cool thing to see. I always love it when we get those reviews where it's like, hey, this product worked really well. And I'm like, hooray, they like it. They like it. Samantha said it's good to have the affirmation, and people having the same results that we've had on something we've worked hard on, kind of thing. And I agree. It is super awesome to be able to have that. I mean, that stuff works really, really well for us. And even Cordyceps likes it, which it was not designed for Cordyceps, but it really likes it a lot. In fact, those full canopy guys had to stop using it in-house because it was so nutritious it actually did help produce detectable amounts in the liquid culture itself. So like we love it, but we can't use it ourselves to ship a product. How long? Will you try the cold shock in the fridge, please? 2 days. You know, in my opinion, the longer you can go, the better. Hey, Squanchy, what are you looking for, bud? Yeah, you having a hard time? Wow, he's really looking around. You want to try giving him some water? We're having to syringe feed him water. Right now he is walking around like he's trying to find something. So I'm hoping he'll take some water. Teddy, back off. Leave him alone. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. I want to make sure he's okay. No, I can't let you out of there, buddy. If you get out, the dog's not gonna leave you alone. Well, Samantha's gonna get him some water, so we'll see how he does with that. He has not been wanting to drink water. It's got me worried. But yeah, the longer that you can cold shock those blocks, the better. So in my opinion, 2 to 3 days would be best at least. But sometimes, if you just do 24 hours, sometimes that'll help. Leave him alone, Ted. Go and leave him alone for a second. All right. But yeah, it would be a couple of days would be really good, but 24 hours at least I would do. Do you store your fresh mushrooms in brown bags? No, I don't store them in brown bags. And of course, we don't really do, we usually just do cardboard boxes. And then we would do brown bags at the farmer's market. The best thing, honestly, is that we've ever experienced would be just a regular cardboard box with a couple of holes poked in the side on each one, and just seeing how that goes. So usually not even closed fully, but you want a couple of holes so that it doesn't build up condensation. And then you want... Hold on, I'm going to watch Samantha give him some water. I was going to say, you might have to tilt his head back. That's what I've been having to do. Yeah, he does not want water. I don't know what that means when a cat gets sick enough they won't even drink water. I've about had to force him to do it. What does moon pearl taste like, and when do you think it'll be available in the UK? It looks brilliant. I mean, it's available now. We ship to UK. What happened? Oh, Svanta doesn't like trying to pry his mouth open. That is the most I've seen him fight, though. Putting his paw up like that, that's encouraging. It's either encouraging or... But yeah, moon pearl tastes like King Blue. It really just tastes like King Blue. I feel like it's got a better texture. It's a little firmer if you get to it the right point, which is young, which is when it's got the best. But yeah, it's honestly, it's about as easy to grow as King Blue is. Almost as high yielding, a little more blotch prone, but the flavor is just absolutely incredible. And you can get it in the UK, but the only way to get stuff in the UK from us is to email us and get invoiced directly for it, because it takes a lot more than the website, because we have to figure out international shipping and all that kind of stuff. And since the tariffs and everything else, shipping international used to be no problem for us, and now it's one of those things where it's a lot more involved than it was. So you always have to just email us. So my friend asked me this, and I wasn't sure how to answer. Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it? On what? What will you? What do you have to use? What's that, baby? Skills? Oh, well, that's true. Skills for sure. And if you just let strains sit there forever, they can go bad. There are some ways to do long-term storage. Is he drinking any of it? A little bit. Will your fish eat chicken of the woods. I don't know if fish would. I don't think fish. So fish have a hard time. So when you're doing fish nutrition, this is something we used to have to do at the hatchery. When you're doing fish nutrition, there's a couple of different things. One is that a lot of terrestrial plants are harder to digest than a lot of aquatic plants, and meat. Fish meat is easier to digest than red meat. So one of the problems is, how do we produce fish feed for fish without overfishing? Because the best nutrients are what we find in the water, but we're overfishing it. So we could produce more terrestrial goods, but oats, corn, soy, things like that, fish don't really digest well. Fungus is hard to digest. So it's probably more difficult for fish to digest fungi than the other things. I don't know that that's true. Maybe fish can digest fungi in some way. I haven't really looked it up. It's a good question. But it would be good protein at what would we say 14% protein, which was wet weight. Wait. Stay. But yeah, I think that's probably the. Oh my goodness, is he actually enjoying you petting him? No, don't know. It looked like he was leaning into it. This is the most alert I've seen him in a day. So that's a good question. Drink it and like it. That's right, kitty. Drink it and like it. Sorry, the kitty is sick. I appreciate it, Lady Killa. Yeah, he's I've never felt this way about a cat before. It's weird. But when I got real sick and was on oxygen and he was a kitten, he just chose me. And then I'd go out there and work in the wood shop and he would follow me, and like he'd climb up in the rafters. And I've just never had a kitty like this. Cats are always been okay, but I've just I don't know. I've just never loved a cat before like this. So always been a dog person. Speaking of dog, he stayed until he thought I wasn't paying attention, then he left. Have you and will you be able to fight this heat wave this week? So, Lady Killer, the thing that I've got going for me right now on the heat wave is that I built a cold room by converting my walk-in. So what a lot of people don't know yet, what a lot of people don't know if they just watch the videos over the live streams. If you watch the live streams, you already know, is that we don't grow mushrooms commercially anymore, fresh mushrooms. We do lab services, but we mostly just do genetic work. We mostly do selective breeding. We've got some new strains we're going to be releasing, and education. So we teach a lot. Especially when I got sick, we were already thinking about doing this, but when I got put on oxygen I got put in the hospital and then was on oxygen for months afterwards, I could not farm anymore. And that was pretty much the last, straw there. So I backed out, and over the time that I backed out, like every couple of weeks, Samantha would give Josiah, one of our former students. He's a peer now. He's been in business for years since 2020. But we backed out, and like every couple of weeks, we'd give him a couple of restaurants until we got down to the point where we had none. And then I was just sick and could not do anything. Samantha couldn't keep it all up with herself. Plus, we were already doing the online side, and we thought the online side would do pretty well. Now, am I making the money I was when I was growing fresh mushrooms? No. Am I as stressed? No. So, it's one of those things. Now, because of that, I don't have the heat problem. I grow cordyceps in a walk-in, and I can grab the phone and we can go out there in just a moment, and I can show you. Why is he standing like that? Is he using the bathroom? I think he might be using the bathroom. Or trying. And if he is, that'd be the first time I've seen him use the bathroom since he got sick. Sorry, guys. I know I hate to interrupt the the streams. But yeah, that's it. Like we'll go there and look at the cold room. I'll show you guys. It's a hack job. It's a complete hack job. But it is working. Everything's cold. The cordyceps is growing well. We have the lab, which we've done over here. We've moved back out of the back room into this front room, and we've turned it into more of a teaching lab. But this is where I do all the breeding work and the mutagenic work. So yeah, I mean that's how I'm surviving it. I will say we started a plant nursery out front doing aquatic plants, pond plants, and fish. And I went outside today, and the moment I went outside and the sun hit me, I was like, "Oh my gosh, the sun hurts! It hurts me!" And I ran right back inside. I was like, "I'm not doing this today. Not doing this today. I feel weak." Oh, you know it. I still don't know it. Yeah, we'll just say yes. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you're talking about active compounds, yeah, they do degrade over time. Not many mushrooms grow underwater, if any, right? So I think it's not made for them. I mean, so fungus will grow underwater. There's actually a decent amount of it. Now, mushrooms, there are a few aquatic mushrooms, but most aquatic fungi are, what's the word for it? Like budding fungi or something like that. It's more like yeasts and things. You do have multicellular cellular filament fungi. That is actually what you get like fin rot and things like that. So a lot of that stuff can be a fungus. You could actually actively see mycelium growing sometimes on wounds on fish, things like that. Fish and lizards, because they're cold-blooded, they don't have what's called the thermal barrier. So we have what's called a thermal barrier. Our hot-bloodedness protects us from most fungal infections. The cooler temps mushrooms like cooler temps, and so they will go after insects, arachnids, fish, amphibians, reptiles, that kind of stuff. But birds and mammals, we're pretty well protected from most fungal infections, thank God. But it's one of the reasons why we don't have like all kinds of cordyceps and encephalitis and things like that infect us and parasitize us the way insects and stuff do. But you're right, there is underwater fungus, but I don't know about mushrooms. Mushrooms may be a little tougher, but most fish cannot digest chitin. Maybe if it was very finely powdered, it might be worth it as a supplement for primary nutrients. Now, yeah, I mean, so you've got like crab shells and stuff. Oh, I didn't know the farm fresh side closed down. Last time I talked to you, I was playing Hell Divers, been a AFK for a while. Yeah, we played Hell Divers today. We've been playing Battlefield 6 mainly, the Mush Bro guys, but we did close down the fresh mushroom side, except for like I said, I'm doing some cordyceps, and then in order to breed mushrooms or test strains, I have to grow some mushrooms. So we do have a small grow room, and I'm solidifying that now. I'm actually rebuilding that room as a fish and plant room for a lot of the plant tissue culture work. But I am putting a mushroom grow room in there because I have to have some place to grow mushrooms out for spores, and then I have to grow them out as a place to go like, is this strain worth growing or not? And then doing the breeder blocks and all that kind of stuff, I have to have a place to do it. But I don't need a 20 by 20 room to do it anymore, So like a 10 by 10 is more than plenty. But we've moved into a lot of other things. So the mushrooms, we're moving more and more into a gene bank, but the nutritional powders, so the premixes, we've got a couple of the aquaculture premix powders that we're making now. We're working on a shrimp food. We're working on a couple of other things. We're working on a block premix, which is, so I've got 3 different block premixes I'm doing. One is for secondary metabolite increased production. One is a cordyceps block premix, and these are basically just additives you would add to your substrate. And then one is a liquid culture direct to bulk inoculation supplement. But that kind of stuff is the main stuff that we're working on. That's like our main money generators now. And then the educational side of things is what we have always liked doing, which is just educating people on how to grow mushrooms and how to use them. Fish can digest chitin. Yeah, some fish can. I don't know. let's see, which fish can digest chitin? So, fish that eat insects and crustaceans like Atlantic salmon, Atlantic cod, cobia, Japanese flounder, and red sea bream can digest chitin. They produce chitinase, an enzyme that breaks it down. So, let's find it can tilapia eat chitin? Because they eat a lot of insects. Yes, tilapia can eat and digest chitin. So, mushrooms may actually not be that bad if tilapia can eat them. Then a lot of other fish are going to be able to eat them. Let's ask it a different question. Are there fish that cannot eat chitin? Many fish species cannot fully digest chitin. Many freshwater fish like Nile tilapia, turbot, and meager lack sufficient digestive enzymes, chitinases, to break down hard shells. Eating too much hard shell material can slow down their growth, cause gut inflammation, and block their stomachs. Okay, so tilapia can, but they can't fully break it down. Cichlids and certain marine fish use strong pharyngeal teeth, throat teeth, to grind up shells first, making them easy to digest. So that's probably how they eat bugs and stuff. Most fish that cannot digest chitin can still benefit from it. The indigestible shell acts like fiber, passes through the fish, acts as a prebiotic, and helps maintain a healthy gut. That is great. Okay, I wonder if rice fish can. Well, rice fish eat all kinds of mosquitoes and stuff. So apparently more fish can eat chitin and break it down than I thought. Or can eat it. There's a difference between eat and digest. We had to put our cat down recently. He caught FHIV from a neighbor's cat. He lived with it for 10 years with his healthy. I'm sorry, Plum. It sucks because I don't think this guy's going to make it. We've done a lot that we can for him. We've tried a lot. We tried feeding him food through a syringe, and he will not take it. If I can force it down his throat, but he just, you have to be really careful forcing anything down a cat's throat because they can you can aspirate them with it. So yeah, he's having a hard time. I don't know what happened to him. He was fine. He went missing for 2 days, and then I really wonder if he's gotten into something. But no one around. We don't have anybody close to us. Ben and Scott, the other two leasees in the shop, like that. There's us on this side, Scott's on the other side, and Ben's in the middle. And none of us use a rodenticide on purpose for the cats. Scott's got a mechanic shop, but he's got cats, and he's really careful about transmission fluid and oils and antifreeze and things like that. But yeah, and all these cats keep we don't have a mouse problem. We're always combating mice, but the cats do the best job, and that's something we wondered about. Was a coccidiosis, but he's not got the Yeah, I don't know. I just can't what? Yeah, we can't find a wound on him or anything, so I don't know. It's just super sad. Using the bathroom is okay for the kitty, that is, not for you on stream. I mean, you guys can't see me from the waist down. You don't know what's going on. He said using the bathroom is okay for the kitty, that is, not for you on stream. And I'm like, I don't know. If you guys ever hear any water pouring and you can't see water pouring, you should always guess. You should always just think I'm peeing off screen. Samantha doesn't like it when I play this way. You finally got the fish plants going too. Going, woo. I do. I've got a lot of fish and plants going. In fact, we're working on a sales channel for that, the website. Huh? We got fish plants and plant fish. So yeah, it's going really well. I'm hoping that it'll get to a point where, it's a significant portion of the income as well. So Christy Stormborn says to try to get him to eat something. Chicken baby food is what animal rescues use because cats won't eat what they can't smell. And trust me, they smell it. Huh? Yeah, Samantha's tried to give him chicken. She's tried to give him tuna. She tried to give him cat food. he will not take. Yeah, parade up in a syringe. He will not take it. He just will not. He acts honestly, sadly, like he kind of acts like he's got neurological damage, and we wonder. He won't let you hardly touch his back legs. The vet said there might be some trauma, and that a cat that's got a major amount of trauma will not eat or drink. The best they could do would be like IV. And we are getting him to drink. It's difficult to get him to drink, but we're getting him about 10 milliliters of water up through a syringe every about hour or so. Every time he wakes up, we give him water. So, and we've tried giving him Pedialyte, and that seems to help. But hey, long time. Hey, just me. Good to see you. Good to catch you on. Hope you and the family are well. We are doing really well. We're dealing with a hurt or sick cat, but beyond that, everyone's in pretty good spirits, relatively speaking. Just came back from vacation, so kind of hard coming back to the work day, you know. Being up in the mountains, waking up every day and going to have breakfast with my parents in their cabin, and then being able to like have no obligations and just go. Samantha and I and our daughter spent 2 days kayaking their lake, looking at plants. My daughter caught her first fish. Like it's, you know, I was able to teach her a little bit about fishing and stuff like that. So finally got her to put her own worm on the hook. That was a big moment for me. Thank you, Lee. So maybe he got hit by a car. Yeah, he might have. If he did, it didn't crush his legs because he will still walk on them. He just kind of acts like his hips hurt or something. So the vet seemed to think it was more of a fall. But yeah. What's up, Myko Nerd? Glad to have you on, bud. I'm going to grab the phone and we're going to do a walkabout here in just a moment. Did Miss P take off her own fish? Miss P. You're gonna. I'm not getting the reference, but I'm sorry. I'm kind of brain dead on stuff sometimes. All right. So we're gonna need to mute everything, and then the daughter. Yeah, the daughter. She did not take off her own fish. She had me take the fish off for her. To be fair, I was going to have her do it, but the fish had completely swallowed the hook, and I had to get a pair of needle nose pliers to actually get it out of the fish without tearing the fish up and hurting him any further. So, all right. Okay, cool. I can hear myself. Oh, black. All right, I cannot hear myself anymore. And we're going to have, it's going to be a little harder for me to see there we go. It's going to be a little harder for me to see the chat. So you guys have seen the new lab setup. We're working on the studio space and the teaching space. So we're getting the microscope set up with the camera rigs, so that we'll be able to bring that up on the big screen. I still got to move the big screen TV in here so that we've got a big monitor for the microscopes. But yeah, we're getting that bit by bit. And then we got all of our pre-stock and batches and all that stuff. They go down the hall. So someone was talking to me about the summer and the cold. So we're going to, oh my gosh, it is so hot out here. All right, so there's our bagger. I got this tent. I got to move this tent in somewhere else. But here's my fancy HVAC system for the cold room. So this is the cold room. It's a old reclaimed walk-in. So there's actually different panels from different walk-ins. And Ben just kind of sawed them, and we put them together and then did spray foam. But it might be a little loud in here.
You can see I've been harvesting cordyceps. So we got a lot of cordyceps coming in. That's probably about 100 grams or so dried. And some of it's starting to get this cordycepicola, so I need to get a lot more of it harvested quickly. And some strains are doing better than others. So like this is actually a little older than this. This is the M4 mound from terrestrial fungi. This is going to probably be the beast. Yeah. From Appalachian Gold. So the Appalachian Gold, I think his genetics are a little closer to the wild, and I'm getting stuff a lot faster with his. Ryan's stuff from the terrestrial fungi tends to be a bit more unique, whereas this tends to be just pure biomass. So, but yeah, there's my fancy air conditioning system. And I've got my first crop of gnocchi coming in here soon. But like it's 65 degrees in here. And I mean, you can see we've got a lot of insulation. So this room stays nice and cold. And I've got that system going, just mixing the air. But to show you guys like what I'm working on here, this is real rough. So you guys are going to have to be a little forgiving. But this is the old grow room. And none of this has changed yet here. But we're about to take all this plastic down and we're going to cap it with foam board. So 2-inch foam board. And all the lighting is going to be brought inside. We're going to build the new mushroom grow room right here under the vent. And then, let's see. So right here, we're just starting the first of the rails. You can actually say I got a little bit left of the mushroom crop that was in here that was for our CSA. So we've been growing stuff for spores and stuff, and then any mushrooms that we have left over are sold to the CSA. You see, I've got like my oxygen tank back there for shipping fish and stuff. I've got to get that shipping station set up. We're putting new rails down, and we're going to have all these fish tanks for baby fish. So we'll have 3 rows of tanks. We're going to have this whole aisle and this whole set of shelves. This whole aisle will be fish. And then we're doing the plant tissue culture work, so sterile plants and fungi through this front section. And then back at the back, we're going to be putting those grow tent back there to do all the mushrooms in. And then, of course, because energy consumption is the biggest, the second biggest expense in mushroom growing, second to the labor, that's where this room comes in, is that this room is far better insulated and allows us to grow cold weather crops all year long. So in this room, we'll be doing gnocchi mushrooms, cordyceps, reishi, and anything that can grow in vitro. And then I don't have to worry about spores. So one of the nice things about growing everything in the bag and not having to worry about spores is that with my lung scarring from COVID, you know, I think they said about 20% of my lung tissue is scarred up. I cannot hardly go in a grow room anymore. So it's actually kind of sucks for a mushroom guy to not be able to grow, you know, a bunch of that stuff. But I'll still grow oysters in small amounts. But there's a lot of transition going on here, just partly just to deal with the health aspect. So we're gonna go back to the desk and go from there, and then I'll be able to see your all's chats. So you can see, like, I've got shelves of stuff where I'm just like, you know, I got no idea where everything goes yet. I'm just going to set that up.
Okay, so you can see my messy desk there. It is the opposite of Samantha. Samantha's like, it's the opposite of mine. Because Samantha's is like, Samantha's is perfectly clean and pristine and organized. And mine is a mess, covered in ash and probably flecks of tobacco, to get today's lunch, camera lenses, pieces of mushrooms, my computer, a bunch of stuff. So, man. Oh man, Nick. Okay, I did get some comments while I was doing that. Do I ever fly fish? No, I've not really ever fly fish. I do fish for trout, occasionally, but it's been a while. But I usually just do it with a hook and worm. So that was what Mr. Denise taught me. I'm hoping to go up this Friday. I plan to be up there this Friday. I'm gonna get up at 8 a.m., grab my fish and stuff, my coffee. I'm gonna take off there and be around there up around 9, 10 a.m. And take some time to do some trout fishing, because right now trout season is on and you can catch your limit up there real easy. Oh, I just realized I hadn't heard you cough yet, so it looks like you're doing better. I'm doing way better, just me, way better. He's sniffing. It's like he's looking for something. Yeah, see if he'll take some food. Yeah, I don't know though. It's almost like he's frantically looking for something. Grab some food and try it. Try it in the syringe. He's kind of shaking when he takes a step, but this is the most active I've seen him. Oh my God, Cat! I about gave up on you. If you come back, I will be so happy. Man, his eyes are open. Oh yeah, give him some Pedialyte too. Man, damn! If this cat makes it, I'm gonna be sad I gave up on him. I was just in hospice mode at this point. I just realized I haven't heard you. Oh yeah, so with some of that, yeah, I'm doing a lot better. I've lost a lot of fat. I still have this belly, and you can see I've got like some loose skin and stuff, but like I'm getting way more muscular. I can see everything popping up. I'm kayaking. I'm biking. I'm doing a lot better. I'm still not 100%, so I can't do some work days like I've done in the past. But I mean. The other day, I was sitting there realizing, it took me a second to realize, because I was like, man, I feel bad. I feel I've worked all day, and then I did this, and then I lifted weights, and then I blah, blah, blah. And I feel so tired and exhausted. And then I realized it wasn't that long ago, I couldn't do even one of those things, And so it kind of blew me away that I'm doing a lot better. Like I'm doing so well that I have forgotten how bad I was. That's a great setup. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I love it. It took me a while to kind of realize that's how I wanted to do it, but getting cordyceps production kicked off like it's doing right now, it's a really good price retail when I can sell it, and wholesale is even better. His eyes were open. He hadn't opened his eyes in like a full day. I'm surprised the Wi-Fi stays connected in there. I know, it's like a Faraday cage. Every time I'm like, is it gonna? But it stays. Like to be fair, the Wi-Fi router is just outside the door, so I guess it can pierce that. I don't know. Did you break into supplements yet? You were still on the fence last I remember. About like making mushroom supplements, I decided I didn't want to. I don't want to get into that. I thought I had taken my extracts off my website, but someone just bought one, and I'm still going to fulfill it. I just am not interested in being in that market. It's a really good profit margin market, but it's just I have zero interest in it. I love taking some. I take some supplements. I mean, I know, so I definitely take some supplements for my health. I take a beet powder, and that I got off. Oh crap! What blood pressure medication was I on? I feel like it started with an S. Anyways. I was on a blood pressure medication for about 3 months. I got off of it as quick as I could and to start taking a beet powder, and that helped immensely. And then I started taking cordyceps, and that helped me a ton to get off oxygen. And I still take cordyceps occasionally. I take a fish oil, but I've taken that for years and years and years. And I take a high flavanol cocoa powder in my shakes with the beet powder. And then I take a greens powder for electrolytes because, as I was talking about earlier, I died. I about put myself in the hospital again by losing weight and sweating and not replacing my salts, because I eat a low sodium diet, always have, and was apparently using so much salts that the doctor was like, eat some salts, buy an electrolyte powder. I was like a Gatorade? She's like, Gatorade's got a lot of sugar in it, honey. I think I would find something else. I was like, fair enough. Yeah, that's a good 4 to 5 inches of insulation for the walk-in. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you're talking about the cordyceps, because we were in the walk-in. I got you. I didn't get into supplements. I would prefer to just sell the wholesale. So I get about 45 cents a gram wholesale. I've not done a ton because I just started breaking into the cordyceps, but I get about $1 a gram. I got that pricing from Sam at Shroom Squatch. He's the one that advised me to do that. And I can sell it here local for about $1 per gram. And I get about 100 grams off a bag of one of those bags of substrate. So it turns out to be pretty good. I think it's going to just take some time for me to be known as the guy who's always got cordyceps on hand. Right now, we've been releasing it through the CSA, and people have really been enjoying it through the CSA, though. The OG shelving, bring back memories. Yeah, I still love that shelving. And it doesn't really need a lot of, a couple of I'm salvaging 2x4s from other places in the op and just putting them up, and tanks are going right up in there. I'd recommend bracing the 2 uprights together to each other for the tank rails. They actually are under and at top. And in the middle. Well, I don't remember if they are in the middle or not, but absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Ben is I've asked Ben a couple of times, like, what do I do here to make sure? Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's definitely, like, I don't know. It's kind of nice to see things going up like that. And everything is going on all fronts. So I'm behind on everything, but I wasn't prepared. I was not ready, but I had so many people stopping in asking if I'd sell plants that I decided to start selling plants. So I don't have like pricing out here. I have to go out there and tell each person the price of each thing. I have to explain each plant, and we're working on hopefully getting some little signs printed up with prices. But to do that, I've got to get the plants organized more because they are just growing like crazy. If you guys want, I'll take you out there on a little walkabout. Just say yes, you want to see it, or no, or just say yes if you want to see it. Otherwise, we won't do it today. But it's going pretty crazy. How do you do? Didn't want it. What? Okay. Hey, that's how all my shelves are. The PVC, we were the ones that popularized that. In fact, I think Ben was the one that came up with that style of shelving. It's kind of cool because I still remember the day where I had people buying my strains and they were using our shelving technique. And I remember that one day I was scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or something, and I was like, so-and-so, how the hell did they get a picture inside my grow room? And then I realized that they'd bought my strain, and that was the first realization that I had that, we were having a difference on the mushroom world, on the mushroom industry out there. And that felt good. And then I started seeing that shelving everywhere. And it just kind of became a standard low cost way of getting some shelving up for people. So, oh no, my shelves are the ones with all kinds of stuff just everywhere. Okay. Well, that too. That seems to be a condition of mushroom growers. What? I'm off on Friday. I may invite myself and drive over. Who is this? Who's Lady Killa? I mean, sure. Come on over. Let's go trout fishing. If you got your trout stamp, I'll show you where you can get some easy trout. I'll definitely show you. You look and sound better. I do so much better. So much better. Like, I feel like I don't... It got hard there for a little while. And so beyond being physical, like, I don't know, how it is when you're physically sick and not doing well. It's hard to got the same mental energy and spiritual energy and just that kind of feel that, about you. But I don't know. I'm starting to get a lot of my old personality back and a lot of the same, Just thinking fish tanks are super heavy compared to bags of sawdust. Oh, they are for sure. Just Devon. Construction. Doesn't live too far away. It's got to be Devon. Got to be Devon. Got a trout stamp for you, buddy. Let's wait for you to start wondering who I was. Well, as long as you got the trout stamp that the TWRA gives you, any other trout stamp we can look at later. But yeah, we're. Did he use the bathroom on the blanket? Yeah. Well, that's good. He finally used the bathroom. That's probably why I woke up looking like he was looking for something. Yeah, we would not normally have this crate in here with the bags and stuff, but this is an emergency. Yeah, I can absolutely. Devin lives in Florida. This is that Devin? When did you get a lady kill a 85 count? Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Yep. You're fine to crash the stream, bud. But you're too far away, I feel like, to... Ugh. Okay. Blanket is changed out. Yeah. Give me a sec. Just a moment, guys. You guys get to hear all my old man sounds. Something that can't fit in here. All right. There. He's even got his little stuffed animal back. You are most welcome. Feel better, buddy. You think I'm going to drive from Florida? No, I live in Tennessee. Oh, I was saying that Devin lives in Florida. I didn't know you knew too. I do. But how do you know the... Wait a minute. 0? That's who's crashing the stream. Boy, this stream took a turn. Sam, I can't fit in there. My goodness. I know a bunch of Devons. There's like 15 million Devons in the mushroom world. But I gotcha. All right, guys. Gosh, I've been at this for 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I am going to end it. And if you come by on Friday, it's going to be quite the drive, but we're going to get you a Tennessee trout stamp. Though I think you were just joking with me. You guys get your mushroom bags from? Is there a discount code maybe? There is not. So there's a few different places to get it. I usually just get mine from next door because it's right next door. So that would, but I haven't gotten them in a long time because I don't go through a ton of bags. I think the last time I bought bags, I bought like 1,000. I'm going through a dozen a week or so for as far as fruiting bags go. So I don't know, like the okay, you can buy from Mushroom Media online. They're in the warehouse next door. You can buy from Eric Myers. Midnight Mushroom used to sell. I don't know if Midnight Mushroom is still selling. You can buy from Unicorn directly, and you can buy like 1,000 at a time from Unicorn. So, but nobody offers a discount code that I know of. The only people I know of that offer a discount code would be Unicorn, and you have to. It's not even a code. You have to buy so much from them, and they might take a penny off per bag. There's not really a good cheap place to get bags. Bags are always going to cost you 40 cents or more, depending on what size. So that's the problem, is that there's not a lot of margin in bags, so a lot of people don't have the ability. They don't have a lot of the ability to make a discount. That sounds good. I might be outside, but I can probably chat text to text pretty easily. Are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see. How many times have you used that line on your wife? I have never used that line on my wife. Because she knows that she's the only 20 I see. And there's no state that starts with 20. Because see, I see you as a 10 in both eyes. So that's 20. Do what? She said she knew I had to get my vision checked. Go get some of that Dr. Solarian's liquid culture mix, y'all. Respect. Thank you, Hendrix. I really appreciate how you push my products and remind me to promote myself. Yeah, guys, go get that. That is, I mean, like, again, we had a 5-star Google review show up today where a guy was talking about how good his growth was. So it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. Like, I give you guys a free recipe. That's good. But I sell something because it's real good. So, guys, check that out. Well, I remember telling her it was 1,000 because she was just grand. Who did you tell that to? Man, you better hit me up on Discord. Just so I know who it is. 'Cause I think it's 0, but I'm not sure that it's 0. All right, y'all. Lee? Lee would be Sam. Yeah, Lee would say that to Sam. Oh my gosh, man, whoever this is leaving me in suspense. All right, y'all. Oh, I'm definitely going to get some when I have the extra funds. I've been looking at Patreon as well. Hey, Plum, I appreciate any support we can get off you, man. If nothing at all, a good 5-star review on our Google page as far as as far as the free information we give out. But also, you ask a lot of questions, and that's a lot of support as well. So with that, y'all, thank you very much for making this stream a great one. I only meant to be on here for an hour and a half, and you guys have managed to pull me in for almost a 3-hour stream just because I started having fun. So with that, y'all, thank you. Keep spawning culture.
Yeah, they said the creek was quiet until I showed up with the flash. Now it bubbles like a cauldron full of chaos and sass. Flip the switch, boom, spores light the night. I'm that mad mycologist, cooking dynamite. Roll up in the lab coat, looking like a villain. Petri dish, pimping every strain I'm killing. Got that mycelium feeling spreading in the ceiling. Dr. Solarian sermon got the culture kneeling. Moon pearl shimmer while the flask gets hot. MCM, baby, we the cream of the crop. I mix oats and sawdust, make that block ignite. Fungi fireworks, call it Friday night. I'm a spore bomb lighting up the scene. Grow bags popping like a fever dream. Got jars on the table, culture's clean. Dr. Solarian cooking up that green. Ooh, Mossy Creek, that's dynamite. Ooh, spreading spores till the stars take flight. Ooh, call the lab, tell them brace for blight. Cause I'm blowing up the world with my mycelial might.